That didn't go as smoothly as I was hoping it would, but what is going on, everyone? Welcome in right here to the College Football After Dark live on the Voice of College Football. I know there's not going to be a whole lot of people here right now because Mark is still live. So we'll get into some other people joining in later on, I'm sure. But as usual, we have the man Jackson Johnson right here. He's probably the most excited person to talk Mountain West football tonight. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Just getting ready for some treats in the Easter basket next Sunday.
That's right. I have to keep remembering. I'm like, oh yeah, next week. That's right.
Yep.
It's already April. Jeez.
But speaking of which, if you are looking for something really nice in your Easter basket, check out the Voice of College Football merchandise store at topqualityshirts.com/MarkRogersTV, where you can find the wine glass, the notebook. You need new shirts, new phone case, new slides for the summer. It's all right here. And let's not forget, if you don't like wearing a bunch of short sleeves, well, I mean, the Voice College Football has that too. There's a pullover, there's a bomber jacket, all kinds of stuff. Some warm socks, a little button shirt for the summer, gym bag, a backpack, trucker cap, the distressed dad hat, and finally, there's a little pint glass for those that are having parties with their friends on Saturday nights, and a little dog bowl for your puppy dog or your kitty cat.
Hey, don't limit it to Saturday nights. Sunday night right here.
There you go.
It's just
Sunday night.
it's not a voice of college football one, but damn it.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. I was gonna say Friday nights. Thank you, man. I never thought about it like that. But yeah, check out the merchandise for the Voice of College Football right here at Top Quality Shirts /MarkRogersTV, especially for a little something special for the kids this Easter and the distressed parents.
whatever works for people. But yeah, definitely check out the store, obviously. There's a bunch of other creators on there too, and a lot of you guys know who they are. So take a look around. The more you buy too, not just from Mark, but all across the board, you get discounts. So don't hesitate with one thing. Buy 3 or 4, you get a discount.
Exactly. And if you love top-notch college football information, especially during the off-season, tune in to patreon.com/MarkRogersTV or become a YouTube member of the Voice of College Football, where you can get some of the best insider knowledge in all of college football.
That is right. It's easy. It's easy to do. And if you do that, you get on the Discord and you can be on this panel on the Sundays that we're live. And you can come join us on the open panel and discuss all the topics that we're talking about each week. It's just that easy.
Agreed. But, if you're not too crazy about like Oklahoma or USC, but you love Texas football, let me tell you, the Voice of College Football has it right here on the Texas football at the Voice of College Football launch party coming soon on April 8th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and on 6 p.m. Central Time on the main channel, and on Texas football at the Voice of College Football, which has just gotten to 2,500 subs. Let's get it to 3,000, 5,000, so on and so forth. I bet you guys want to get to 5,000 before, 6,000 before Oklahoma gets it.
A little rivalry in there. Yes, definitely check Texas channel, the launch party or relaunch party, so to say, April 8th. Definitely do. And then obviously tune in this on the March 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern for the State of the Union Voice of College Football show. I added in the Union one, but it's the State of the Voice of College Football channel. The annual.
You may not be able to talk about college football on that night, but you can talk about the great things that the Voice of College Football has accomplished and will accomplish in the future.
Mark will discuss all the good things, the bad things, the changes, and just in general state of the channel, and as he does basically almost every year now. This is just the thing he does every year. So definitely want to check it out. March 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll probably be just on the main channel, but it might be simulcast to all the channels, depending on who's on or whatever. I'm not sure. But definitely check that out. But Jackson, we have very important things to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I believe we got some teams like Boise State, UNLV, Air Force, and New Mexico, and San Diego State. We're not talking about the San Diego State basketball team. We're talking about the football team.
Shit's about to get real.
Yeah, it is.
My. I told you beforehand. I looked at this. As more I looked into it, I was like, I don't know what to make of this. It's going to be very interesting looking at these teams, especially because, as you note, they have the addition of Oregon State, Washington State, but they have the asterisk where they're not eligible for the Mountain West football championship game, but they play a pivotal role in the sense of the Mountain West win-loss record at the same time. So
true. Well, let me see. Boise State schedule. I'm really looking at that. I mean, let's be real. They are the Mount West defending champs, so it's going to be hard not to look at them. I mean, they're not like the Boise State of old, but they're still Boise State.
Oh, and that's it. After, last year they fired Avalos, right?
Yep.
Midway through the season, and then they just took off. Started rolling off wins. I mean, so.
Oh, yeah.
You always have to look at the defending champion, especially bringing back the staff and everything like that. You have to look at them.
Well, I'm looking at a Fresno State schedule. They're going to start off with Michigan. And I got a feeling that's going to be on big noon kickoff. Like how we always saw like Alabama games on like CBS constantly every year. I kind of feel like we're going to see that with Michigan games on big noon kickoff, especially with Michigan Fresno State.
It's possible. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't, especially that early in the season.
And I noticed that Fresno State UCLA is on rivalry week. What do you think about that?
I don't know. That new scheduling, with like UCLA, USC, it's kind of weird. Especially at UCLA playing Fresno at the end of the year. It's just kind of feels wrong. Not because of Fresno State, but that's UCLA's scheduling.
Oh yeah. And we got our good friend of College Football After Dark, Sean Garner. How you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. I can't see your guys' faces. I don't know what's going on with my StreamYard tonight, but
you're not missing out on much. Trust me.
There you go. Happy, sad. Happy, sad. Happy, sad.
Who's more excited to talk Mountain West football than Sean Garner?
Oh, there can't be anybody. That's what they call me, Mr. Mountain West. This is.
I will say I'm looking at it as just looking at it. Of course, there's multiple teams in here. Colorado State, for instance, Texas. They have Colorado, Oregon State. I won't. For Colorado State, I'm not gonna say those are gimme games. Obviously, especially against Texas. Then one that just caught my eye kind of real quickly was for Utah State. They have to go to USC, then host Utah in back-to-back weeks.
Utah State does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Utah is going to play at Utah State. But,
yeah,
alas.
That's yeah. Sometimes you get those weird in-state games like that. Like I
Yeah,
remember when
spread out like home and homes over like 3 or 4 years or whatever.
I know that like Michigan State has played like games at Central Michigan and Western Michigan in the past. So, but
Yeah, and Boise State gets both. Boise State gets everyone. They get to play, at Oregon. They get to have host Washington State and host Oregon State. Which again, Oregon State and Washington State don't make up definitely technically the differential in the sense of who plays in the conference game, but they still have an impact on a team. What the hell is UNLV doing playing Syracuse at home
on
midway
October
through the
5th.
season? I just saw that S. I'm like, what is UNLV doing hosting Syracuse?
I kind of like seeing some of these obscure non-conference games in the middle of the season every now and again.
It's interesting. It's interesting. It definitely, that's why I caught my eye. I was like, wait, that's Syracuse, isn't it?
Yep.
Syracuse might
It's
have
fine.
they might have 2 feet of snow by that point in the year, so probably be very happy to get out to the desert.
It's funny. I was talking with Locked On Syracuse the other day about Syracuse, and I was like, I almost forgot about Syracuse UNLV for a moment.
Shit.
This is just such an interesting schedule too, though. Again, with the addition of Washington State and Oregon State, with the tie-in that they have now, it's unofficial, but they're taking 2 Power 5, technically Power 5 teams, I guess, still, and throwing them in the mix. We're gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's break this down. Let's just break this down the easy way. There's this graph. There are too many logos all over the place, and in technical fashion, we will go alphabetical order, just because.
So I guess I'm going to have to keep this running on YouTube if you're going to put any graphics up, because for some reason all I see is the background and 2 blank screens in the thumbnails here. So I'll make it work.
There you go. Look at Sean overcoming adversity.
That's right.
You're doing your.
They built us tough here in the Midwest. Here, got this.
You're handling those first world problems like a pro. All right, look at an Air Force. I don't know who the hell Merrimack is, so I'll give Air Force that win. No idea who they are.
Merrimack.
You have no idea who those people are.
I've seen that before. They're in the Northeast somewhere. I think they're like in Connecticut here.
Okay, I was like, because it almost at first glance almost looks like. Okay, at first glance, it almost looks like MT, and I was like, but that's not Middle Tennessee. So I was like, Merrimack. Though I was like, who the hell is
that? I thought they were like a Division III school, but shoot.
That's probably about. They have to at least be Division II.
I mean, it's actually like really rare for even Division II teams to be playing FBS teams. So
I noticed that Air Force
they are
and
FCS
Baylor are
program.
going to have the 2022 Armed Forces Bowl rematch. Wonder if Baylor's going to try to get revenge.
I
imagine
so.
that'll be the goal. I don't think they want to lose.
And we got a question from Nathan Campbell that's about conference realignment, asking us about the Big 12. What teams do we see going to the Big 12 from the ACC? I said
So
that.
I am unfortunately like pretty far behind on a lot of this. I know that there was some sort of big ruckus with Clemson this week,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
but I don't exactly know all the details. Is the ACC basically about dead? I can't imagine
It's
that.
not
I mean,
dead. I think it's gonna be like how the Big East wound up in 2011 and 2012,
well, that's
where
not a good
it's
sign for
not.
them because the Big East is dead, in football
Oh
at
yeah.
least.
Well, I mean, they rebranded as the AAC, which
See.
I think we could see something like that with the ACC, but I'm not too sure. I mean, Miami's saying the nice thing in public right now, but we're gonna wait and see.
Man,
It's
God, how
just
big are
an
these
open.
conferences going to get?
Mhm.
Is every league going to have like 30 teams?
God.
I think the Big Ten is gonna shoot for 24 after the
Good God.
SEC tries to get 20. That's what I think.
I think I don't think you're going to see anything for a couple of years, but with all the heckling going on already, something's going to happen. Whether they appease the teams in the ACC or the ACC just loses them, and then then implosion is pretty much inevitable. I think, or rebranding.
I mean,
Something.
that could actually be. I mean, I would think that there's probably some candidates from the Mountain West that the Big 12 would attack here. I could definitely see Boise going. I could see Air Force jumping.
Air Force
Maybe
can't.
Colorado State.
Air Force can't though. That's the unfortunate thing. Is because now unless they redo their
Why
bylaws, is
can't
because
they?
when the Pac-12 needed teams, I said let's go after Air Force. That would be amazing. Service Academy teams cannot legally join Power 5 conferences apparently, or power conferences. Something in their
Really?
bylaws that state that they can't.
Well, they do compete in like the Big 12 and a few affiliate sports. I know Air Force's
Yeah,
wrestling team
there
is
was
in the Big
something
12.
weird people kept saying in their contractual statements or something about, I guess specifically maybe just football or whatever. I don't know, but they cannot technically join officially like a power conference because they're a service academy. That's why all the service academies are independent or in the group of fives.
I
Yeah,
think the
Army's
ACC.
joining the American, right?
Yep, 2024 is going to be their first season.
But it's still a group
It's
of
going to be
five.
this year.
Yeah, it's still a group of five,
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
I
they
was
were gonna-
all on board with the pack trying to get like Air Force. I was all on board, but people were like, "Yeah, they can't though." And I was like, "Oh, really?"
I think honestly, we're going to see the ACC snatch San Diego State. And I think we can see them snatch Boise State and Tulane and South Florida. I mean, I
Kind of
wouldn't put it
spread it
past
out.
them. Oh yeah, because I mean, they got SMU, they got Cal Stanford. I wouldn't put it past them to try to get in the West Coast again.
But then too, it's like, see, and we're getting into a whole different topic, but that's a good question because I mean, again, Washington State, Oregon State still have the pack title. So what are they gonna do with it? Does the ACC go, hey, you can keep your title, but you're going to be unofficial members of the ACC, kind of like Notre Dame. You'll have a home, but not really.
To me, the thing that makes the most sense is just have Oregon State and Washington State basically take in all of the Mountain West teams and just have those teams play under the pack.
I guess it becomes financial. Like, how much money now with just the two schools? How much money does that title, the league of the pack with just those two teams, hold compared to the entire Mountain West as it is? I guess financially.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, I wouldn't be surprised that the ACC added Oregon State, Washington State, honestly.
Just to create that West Coast thing, kind of like the Big Ten did. but yeah, maybe become like unofficial official members, kind of almost.
I think there's
ACC.
I think there's issues with Oregon State and Washington State aren't very highly rated academically, and that might be a problem with that might be a problem with the.
Yeah, but the
with
ACC, they're going to be desperate once Florida State, Clemson, and Miami wind up leaving. And
yeah. So what's better? What's better? Take an unknown group of 5 that you don't know what they're going to do, or at least take 2 technical Power 5 teams. So yeah, it's an interesting topic. We're going to find out a lot more in the next few months.
I think NBC's in Notre Dame's ear right now, telling them, "Hey, the ACC is not the best situation for you. Let's say we do a little partnership with the Big Ten. I'll buy you out of that. I'll see to it if I can go talk with the ACC about buying you out of that little contract, though." I could see NBC having that conversation with Notre Dame.
Yeah, this offseason is going to be interesting to watch the news about what's going to happen with the ACC mostly. Because really, that's the next domino to fall. Whatever happens to the ACC will start dictating what potentially happens with the other schools all over. Like the Oregon State and Washington States.
And the Syracuse's, the Wake Forests, and the Boston Colleges of the world.
Yeah, all that stuff. I mean, you thought it was going to be done. Like, hey, this is it. You know, we're done with realignment for a while. And it's like, nope. Welcome, ACC. Welcome in.
Hummus Hero says, take Memphis, USF, and 2-pack when UNC, Miami, Florida State, and Clemson dip. Yup.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be an interesting situation. You think some of these would be like no-brainer, simple things, but I mean, damn, look at the Pac-12, how it just within like a 4-month span, so it was like, nope, it's gone, and it was like, wow, okay. I mean, yeah, you just don't know what's going to happen. If it was that simple, we would be running the show, but we don't run the show. I mean, we run this show, but you guys give it.
Is Mark still on?
Yep, with Tim Franklin, the co-host of Trojans Conquest on USC football at the Voice of College Football and writer for Trojans Wire.
Tim's still on with him? He's been on the air for like half an hour.
Oh, no, it just ended. My bad.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, that's why we waited a while, because I was like, Mark is still alive. I'd gotten home from work. I had 30 to me, Mark rage quit. I wouldn't doubt that. I would not doubt that at all.
That's not good.
I mean, because last time we were on a couple weeks ago, I literally got home. I had like 30 minutes to chill out, and then was going to drop the link to get in here, and then I was like, "Wait, why is Mark live still?" So I was like, "All right, we're going to hold off for a few minutes."
LFG says 2-pack programs are sitting on a pile of money right now after the ACC implodes. Can Washington State, Oregon State talk some former Pac universities into realigning back out west again? And LFG also says credit Spencer McLaughlin, host of Locked On Ducks, Locked On College Football, who speculated that the 2-pack has a puncher's chance of reviving part of the former Pac-12.
Well, and that's true. If the ACC did fall apart, I do think that they could easily lure Stanford and Cal back into the pack, because obviously they're right there.
Yeah, because I mean, had it not been for the ACC saving the day for Stanford and Cal, I think Stanford and Cal would have been in the same position as Oregon and Washington State.
Yeah, whether those 4 would have stuck together or, I mean, some people have always said, Stanford might just say screw football. they don't technically need it for revenue. Cal technically doesn't need it for revenue either.
No,
Cal at least probably
not
has
at
a
all.
better fan base right now overall than Stanford does, even
Oh,
shockingly. Not by
I
much,
mean,
but
Cal is a lot more of a local tie-in to it.
Yeah.
Stanford's alumni just go everywhere in the country, and I don't
Good
think
question.
they're necessarily all that committed.
that's the combination of that name is great, but it's
exactly what I proposed. I think that's
It's-
absolutely what should happen.
What would be the name for it? The Pac West or the Mountain
Something
Pack?
like that. Something like that. You can call it the Pacific Conference. PCC.
Again, it's the ability of Oregon State, and Washington State to hold on to the name, and at this point in time, can you blame them? I mean, at this point in time, they have gotten absolutely taken out into the woodshed and abused in so many manners unspeakable on this channel. That's what they have to hold on to, plus the money. Why would they just give that up? I mean, let them hold on to it.
Yeah, but I mean, you want that in. I mean, I would think the Mountain West is going to be a contender for that group of 5 spot in the playoffs.
That's true. Yeah, and we don't know the state. We don't know the state of like Oregon State, Washington State. What happens if one of them goes completely goes undefeated? That would mean beating Washington or Oregon also in like their technical quote unquote non-con and running through the mountain. What would happen? I mean, I guess they'd be like Notre Dame where they would be undefeated.
You just got to count purely on the strength of your resume to get in as an at-large, as a top, because you're not going to have the group of 5 tie-in.
Yeah, I don't even know what technically. Let's do this quick question and then get focused back on the topic here. But what technically are Oregon State and Washington State right now? Are they technically just like floating Power 5 teams? What technically are they?
Well, I think it's completely ambiguous right now. They are technically still members of the pack.
Oh man, Hummus Hero. I love his idea. The Broke Pack Mountain. Oregon State, Washington State going, I wish I knew how to quit you.
It's an interesting thought, and it's just an unknown scenario, kind of. Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. LSU, they are okay. That's why I was like, yeah, they're just kind of floating Power 5 teams. That's why I was like,
but they don't have a tie-in.
Yeah, they don't have like an actual. They have like an affiliation, but they don't have a tie-in, like an actual official tie-in with anything.
That'd be so hilarious if they somehow did have like that Power 6, or if they had the Power 5,
Power 6 with an asterisk. And I'm not trying to be mean to Washington State or Oregon State. They got absolutely screwed, and to none of their own fault. Only the president and their AD. It's their fault, technically.
Yeah.
Not any of the players, not the university itself. But yeah, it's like they got absolutely screwed. But let's look at Air Force here. Was that? Oh, go for it, Jackson. Quick.
I'm just waiting to see whoever in the Broke Pat Mountain will say the line. Just like say the line. What line? The I wish I knew how to quit you line.
All right, let's get through the Mountain West tonight. I think it'll be fairly simple. What is Air Force expectations? They started off hot last year and then just slowly fizzled out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That Army game broke them last year.
23-0 or something like that.
I think it was 3, maybe.
Maybe 23-3, maybe.
Yeah, they were in the top 25 at that point.
Yeah, they were undefeated at that point. I think they were like 6-0 or something like that.
And that's a team you wouldn't expect it to happen to them. Air Force is going to fall apart and sort of mail it in.
And notably to an Army team that wasn't exactly very good.
No,
Army was not exactly a good team.
Army was a huge favorite. They were like 4 touchdown favorites or something in that game.
Well, that's the
That
thing
quiz.
about Arm.
What conference is Merrimack in? Yeah, we already asked this. I was like, I've never heard of this team before. You said they are Division III, Sean?
No, they're actually an FCS, but they're an independent FCS.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why I've
I
never
thought they
really
might
heard
be.
of them.
I think they came up from Division III, not
Oh, okay.
that, or maybe not. I don't know, but yeah,
Oh,
it's a very
They're
obscure game.
they're actually in the Northeast Conference.
okay.
Northeast.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Well, it's some dung heap conference. That's all I know.
Yeah, I just have never heard of them before, honestly, that I can think of. So I was like, I don't know who
Yeah.
that is, but that's a win.
Yeah.
That should be a win.
Andover, North Andover, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
San Jose State. I'm not sure what
The
San Jose
Wicked
State's. Yeah, I'm not sure what San Jose State's going to have this year. The at Baylor one, that's probably their first real like. Okay, but what is Baylor going to be this year too?
Well,
I got DeQuan Finn coming in, running that.
I'm looking forward to that 2022 Armed Forces Bowl rematch between Air Force Baylor. That's going to be a test to see what's going to happen with Dave Aranda at Baylor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Because
if Baylor got smacked by Air Force, that would not be a good start to the season.
Oh no, they will basically just, oh man, like they will basically pull a Robert De Niro on Leonardo DiCaprio on Baylor. Just get out that little paddle and just spank them.
This chat. This is what happens when we do these shows. Now we're talking about Merrimack. Merrimack has never been mentioned more on the internet ever.
Oh yeah, he was from the Boston Red Sox. I remember watching highlights of him on YouTube.
Yeah, he has like one of those most iconic shots when he hit that home run to beat the Reds, and then I saw that clip like a million times growing up. Made no sense to me why it was so iconic because they still lost the series, but
it was the way that he was like,
yeah,
that's why. And I love it. It's so
Fisk.
iconic.
Right.
It was Carlton Fisk. That's the guy you're thinking of.
That's good. But Yastrzemski was on
every time But I'll be honest, when I'm thinking of iconic Red Sox players, I'm thinking about David Ortiz or Johnny Damon and Dave Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
But,
all right, Merrimack, you've had your time on the Voice of College Football. And you'll never come back here.
Yeah,
never come back.
You're one mention in 20 years.
True, I agree. Ralph Wolf, Ted Williams, he's another iconic Red Sox player. I mean, but anywho, I think we're getting a little lost in the weeds here.
I was gonna say, besides Baylor, obviously seeing what that happens with, like you said, with David Aranda, especially. I want to see what Wyoming is going to be like too, with Greg Bull retiring. I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to have still some input in the program a little bit. Now he's just retired, kind of like a liaison a little bit, whatever guy. I don't know how much he just wants to separate, but what is Wyoming going to look like?
Well,
that's
going to be weird without Craig Ball. I mean, it just feels weird.
Navy?
Am I the only one who actually found like the Craig Bowl era at Wyoming a little bit disappointing? Like I thought that he might have built them into like a legit player and a yearly contender in that league, and it never really happened.
He had a few really good years. I will say I think it was probably a little underwhelming, but for Wyoming standard, it was at least consistent.
Oh, it's actually really good for Wyoming standard. I mean,
yeah, it was at least consistent where it wasn't like there wasn't no major drop off. So it was like, okay. And he was happy there. They liked him, it was just a good situation.
Yeah. I mean, every time you're thinking about top-notch teams in the Mount West, you're thinking about like Boise State, San Diego State, you're not necessarily thinking about Wyoming. And when he came over to Washington, not Wyoming at the time, they were not exactly. They were just happy to get to a bowl, but the fact that he had them contending here and there was pretty big in of itself.
Yeah,
in that program.
Yeah, I mean, he stabilized the program and kept it consistent. That was the big thing for them, and that made them, and yeah, contended here and there. They were at least in the running multiple times. So I would say it was a win-win for both of them.
I mean, they've never won a title in the Mountain West, but they did win some titles in the WAC. But that was it. And like the Mountain States conferences.
And then like the next one, Navy. What is Navy gonna do this year? Now second year with their coach. Are they gonna
Coach Bedbury.
Yeah, are they gonna be able to kind of feel into the system? Because obviously he still ran triple option, principles, but he was changing the offense a little bit, obviously, to spread it a little more and a little more pass happy. Not much, but a little more.
There's new rules in place regarding cut blocking, which is forcing all these service academies to adjust. They can't cut block, I think, more than 3 yards past the line of scrimmage here anymore. So they have to adjust a little bit.
Yeah,
Army was actually running a little bit of a spread. They still ran it most of the time, but they were using a lot of like four wide receiver sets.
Yeah, exactly. They've started to adjust more to. It's still triple option principles, but it's more spread out a little bit. So they have like tried to make some adjustments to it. Oh, Austin. Let's go. Let's see if Austin sticks around here.
What's up, man?
How's it going tonight, guys?
Austin.
Doing great, man.
Diving deep into the Mountain West Conference.
Sorry,
we haven't gotten very far. We spend most time speaking to Merrimack.
Sorry to hear the Cardinals missed out on Dusty May. That had to be a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, it happens, Sean. You just got to take the punches and move on. But I'm here to talk some great Mountain West with you all. And I see Air Force is on the docket.
It's the first team. It's the first team, and they've been on the docket for literally about 15 minutes, and this is how far we've gotten.
Well, Jackson stopped getting them off task, for Christ's sake.
No, it was the chat. We've had the most conversation about the University of Merrimack than anyone.
Yeah, we went down a Merrimack rabbit hole here. So, how can you avoid it?
I will say though, go ahead, Sean.
Go ahead. Okay, I will say one thing that's very obvious, great benefit for Air Force's schedule is they miss Boise. And Boise, a couple of the previews I looked up are largely considered the favorites in the league. Even with their new head coach. We'll talk more about Boise in a minute, but
yeah, another interesting thing about Air Force is if they going to do what they did this year like they did last year when they started off really hot and they were predicted as the team to be the possible Group of 5 NY6 team, and then they kind of cooled off towards the end after a couple losses. Are we going to see the same thing happen in 2024? For there, could they start off really hot and then? Go ahead, Sean.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, and I said I would never expect Air Force to do something like that. Like you can understand how like some teams kind of fold and collapse, but I mean Air Force. I mean you wouldn't think they have the kind of players that are just going to like quit and give up. I mean, should we be worried about our national security in the future? I mean, do we have the?
It is the.
We have the right kind of people at our academies.
I
have a clip I could play from one of the academies that would be embarrassing for the nation, but I won't do it because Mark would Well, actually, Mark would laugh at it, but then he would scold me, so I won't do it.
I will say though, guys, Air Force at Baylor and Waco, that's going to be a very underrated game. And I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that is a game that we talked about earlier. Dave Aranda has to win that game. That's like a must.
Yeah, but Waco's a hard place to play. And can Air Force handle that? Now, I don't know how many fans are going to show up this time around because Baylor is kind of stinking it up. But I would like to think they're still going to show up in numbers and support the Baylor Bears. And I think that's going to be a tough road environment for Air Force.
I'll make sure not to jinx them with my nickname this time around.
I mean, nothing on this schedule outside of potentially like Baylor, then Colorado State. I guess still we're not. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to get Colorado State. Navy was not that great. Army was not that great last year, but Army did beat them, and this is at Army. And then you get into like Fresno State, then Oregon State, San Diego State. That back half of the schedule for Air Force is not very nice to them.
Yeah, this isn't a bad schedule. Go ahead, Sean. I apologize.
It is kind of nice to have it set up that way. It is kind of nice to have it set up that way, though. You have, you can build up a good resume, a good record before you have your big games at the end of the season.
Yeah, but that turns into a reflection potentially of last year. You know, they're going to be like, we're good. And then they're going to hit that back end and be like, yeesh.
Yeah, it's going to be something to watch, especially them playing like, and like every year we always have a team or two that's going to surprise us. I have a feeling, we're looking at these games and a lot of them might be winnable for Air Force, but come December, January, a team could be like 8-3 or something that we never expected to be that. So that's the interesting thing about these schedules. And teams you expect to be good don't end up being good, and the teams you don't expect to do anything do something.
Yeah. That's why we're kind of looking at this. And yeah, we've had the long topic of like, for Austin, who was not here, the Mountain West schedule does have Oregon State, Washington State in it, but asterisk because they can't play for the championship, but they do obviously play most of the Mountain West teams. So they do have an impact to a degree. So it's just one of those things we have to take into account, so to say. But for Air Force, like John mentioned, they don't have to play Boise, which is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about playing the defending champions.
Nope.
Yeah, the one program that year after year consistently is just at the top of the league. So,
or damn near it, yeah. This one's going to be interesting. Boise State, though, their schedule is, again, most of these don't impact the actual running, but they do have to play at Oregon, Washington State, and Oregon State. Again, we don't know what those two teams will look like necessarily, but and at Georgia Southern even to start the season. That's kind of that's a sneaky, interesting one.
Oh yeah, Clay Helton and Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I gotta say the at Oregon, that ought to be interesting because, Washington last year, played them at home as well, I do believe, and that game was pretty close for a half. Could we see the same thing happen to the Ducks, where maybe it's week 2, they're not really taking it serious, and they could keep it close? And then
it's Boise State.
I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if they keep it that close. But maybe a half or so.
It's Boise State. They always have given, no matter who it was, they've always given all of the Pac-12 team fits. They always have. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're, midway through the second quarter, and it's still kind of like neck and neck. I wouldn't be surprised by that.
I wonder if Spencer Danielson can bring back some of that Chris Peterson, Brian Harsin spark that Boise State had. Because I mean, when he became the interim coach last year, they won those last 2 regular season games. They won the bowl game, not bowl game, the conference title game. I mean, they lost the bowl game, but still, though, it was tremendous turnaround. I mean, they're not going to be blowing 20-point leads against Colorado State anytime soon.
That was one of the more interesting mid-season firings. When they fired Arevalos.
Yeah, Andy Avalos.
And Avalos. That was. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think he was doing that poorly. But
I mean, blowing a game with a 20-point lead with 4 minutes left in the game, I would say that's doing poorly.
Yeah, and I have to say on Boise State, once Andy Avalos was cut loose, they seem to have kind of turned things around. They finished out the season great, made it to the LA Bowl, and I remember a lot of people were picking them to beat UCLA because they thought Chip Kelly was on his last leg, which it turned out he actually was. But then UCLA went in there, ran the ball down their throat, and won the game. And now Boise's in kind of that situation, I think, where let's see what they could do. They got a fresh start. The new head coach is going to have a new full season. He's the defending champ. He gets a chance to go out there and strut his stuff, so to speak. It'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, they have all the momentum going into the season as the defending champions. I mean, with the same coach and staff, a lot players, and they have all the momentum. It's just, will it continue?
Mm-hmm. And like, go ahead, Jackson.
Well, I was going to say that I noticed that Boise State is one of the 3 teams in the Mount West that's playing both Oregon State and Washington State. Now, I'm wondering if Boise State, Oregon State will be moved to Black Friday because they technically haven't announced the TV schedules for everybody yet.
Yeah, I don't know what they would do on that. It's interesting too, Jackson. Oregon State, Washington State. Which we'll get to them. But I noticed how the Air Force and Boise, they both get them at home. Why? I'm sure as we'll go down the list, we'll see a couple teams go on the road. But it's just funny how they're like, here, you have to go on the road, Washington State, Oregon State. You don't get to be at home. The Mountain West teams get to be at home.
Well,
because I would like to.
With all due respect to that, there is going to be a home game, but with all due respect, they did Washington State and Oregon State a solid by going, hey, we'll merge you into our schedule. They did them a solid there.
What's this comment from Moose here? It says, I don't know if he's joking or not. It says Boise State hasn't been good since the bowl win over Oklahoma.
They were pretty.
He's talking about that Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, he's talking about the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, he's talking about
back in 06. They've done okay since then. I don't know if he's paying attention.
They've been pretty good. They've been pretty good.
Yeah, and back in 08 through 2011, they basically got out the belt and gave everybody a spanking with Kelly Moore.
I was about to say, I mean, like, what did they have over those years? Like 3 losses total, something like that.
Well,
they were like a top 10 team playing in a group of 5 league. I mean, that was they just murdered everyone like week after week during that stretch.
Oh yeah,
I thought in 2010 they might have had the best team. I really thought like if the chips fell right for them, they could have won the national title that season. They definitely could have beaten Auburn or Oregon for sure that season.
Man, I love that Boise State Virginia Tech game from 2010. That was a great game. I'll never forget. Like I remember I was talking with a relative, like he was like telling me, "Oh, Boise State's a bunch of candy asses." I'm like, "No, they're gonna beat Virginia Tech, and you're gonna see on Labor Day what happens." They beat Virginia Tech on Labor Day, and he's like, "Oh, congratulations! At least they didn't win by a trip play." I'm like, "Ah, you got me there."
Yeah, no, Boise State's done quite all right for themselves.
I mean, the
not
only
bad
times they
not
lost,
bad for a school that was a community college like 45
True.
years ago. 45.
Yeah, they've done quite all right, and play on the blue
yes,
field.
the
Remember,
Rod, yes, the Rod Farver. You're talking about the 2011 Chick-fil-A kickoff where Boise State smacked around the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. Boise State lost to TCU by 1 point in the 2008 Poinsettia Bowl. Unfortunately, Boise State was left out of a BCS Bowl that year. 2010, they did lose to Nevada. 2011, they lost TCU, but that was it. Yes, they beat Oregon in 2008, which was on pay-per-view, I believe.
2000. It was it was in 2009 was the infamous LeGarrette Blount sucker punch.
Yeah. Game.
I will say
The only thing another
sneaky game on this schedule at Wyoming late in the year. That could be a very interesting game before Oregon State. Because Wyoming.
It could be, as we talked to, is Greg Bowl not being there. What is Wyoming going to become? That's kind of the interesting fact with Wyoming. That's why Wyoming is kind of an interesting unknown team, because Greg Bowl, retired. So
yeah, but I think we can give the coach some slack in his first year and second year, but we'll know a little more on what he can do and can't do with or without Craig Bowles recruits in his third year.
Wyoming is they do seem to pull off an upset or two at home every year. They play at really high elevation, if I recall correctly, and that can be a huge advantage.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you play Utah and Rice Eccles, the high elevation can be a big time factor. You get fatigued quicker.
Oh yeah, guys just completely aren't used to it. It's if you're playing and practicing it every day, you're much better prepared.
Yeah. The Boise defending champs, I think they're obviously, like we said, they're the favorite right now. For good reason, obviously. The spark they had, and they have all the momentum. So why not? They should be the favorite.
Well, we got Colorado State up next on our slate.
Colorado State is another kind of interesting team because they had their ups and downs.
Oh man, I can't believe Colorado State Texas will be on SEC Network. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was on there or like ESPN on 11 a.m.
Now, what I want to know is College Game Day going to go to Colorado State this year? Return the favor.
No. No. Go to the Backyard Brawl College Game Day. Do not go to Colorado State. Stay the hell away from that place, College Game Day.
I will agree with the Rob Farber, though. Fort Collins is a nice place. Fort Collins is a nice place.
It's just funny when people got all upset about it. 60 Minutes went there. The Rock was there. And then it turned out being a better game than any of us could have ever imagined, staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning, watching Shadur Sanders put on a master class, getting them down the field. I mean, it was just an overall great game. I will say one of the best games of the year, but it probably shouldn't have been.
I say like
no, it definitely shouldn't have been. It had the hands down best social media trash talk war in the game leading up to that. That Jay Norvell did not pull any punches.
Yeah, let's
Ooh.
60 minutes. Let's 60 minutes go to Colorado State, while like big noon kickoff and college game day, or maybe voice of college football can go to West Virginia, Pittsburgh.
I will say, I do want to ask Colorado State at Oregon State. How do we think that one's going to play out? Colorado State going to Oregon State, going to the Bees' backyard. How do we think that one's going to play out?
I don't. Oregon State just lost a ton. I mean, they just got murdered by the portal this offseason. I don't think they'll really have anything close to the roster they had, and I do think Jay Norvell is doing a nice job rebuilding this program. This program was really crappy a couple years ago. They were very bad for almost a decade. And I think that I expect them to make a bowl game this year. I think they'll be somewhere in the – they returned most of their starters from last year. So
I think it'll be a fun game, especially now. Hopefully Oregon State could cover the drag route. Like we all remember that receiver just running drag routes all night long against Colorado. Hopefully Oregon State can plan better for that.
Well, let's see. Northern Colorado's the cupcake. Moose asked, when was Colorado State ever good? The Jim McElwain era, especially in the third year.
Well, I mean, in the Sonny Lubick era back in like the 90s and early 2000s, they were pretty respectable. Then I remember, Colorado State. They started the season against each other every year, and one of the years Colorado was ranked like number 6 in the country preseason, and then Colorado State went into Boulder and just whooped them. That was probably like 2003 or so, 2004.
Yeah.
I say overall this. Oh, go ahead, Jackson.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen in this Colorado State Air Force matchup. Uh-oh.
You mean Air Force? Did we lose Austin?
Yeah, for a little bit. He'll be back. There he is.
No. Yeah. There's actually a little bit of a rivalry between Air Force and Colorado State. I believe they play. That's kind of a big deal for them.
Yeah, it is pretty big in-state rivalry, but just do us all a solid college game day. If you're tuning into this, do not put Colorado State on game day for the love of God. Let 60 minutes have that game.
Well, we'll see. We're going to see. That would be a hell of a thing, especially if it turned out to be a game like last year.
Let real time with Bill Maher have Colorado State.
What's going to happen is they're going to see all the good views and ratings and be like, "Oh, that was such a great game. We got to go back. Let's go back this time and hype it up even more." And Coach Prime's going to get even better.
I think that game. I remember looking at the TV ratings. That game was like the 3rd highest watched game of the year last year. It was like something insane. Like 10 million people watched that game.
Yeah, it really depends on what Colorado does too. So if they both went into it and they were, 2-0, maybe there'd be some hype around it. But we have to see how that goes. Obviously, Colorado State will not be 2-0 with Texas. Obviously,
no.
Put that game on the Fox Business Network.
There you go.
But they should get by Unco there in the second week, and then UTEP, not a good team. That's a game they need to win.
So as it says here, Fresno State, they finished 6th in the Mountain West. Not very good. But what will happen this year?
Ooh, at Michigan to open up the season. Be careful, Michigan.
1-0.
Just be careful.
1-0.
Be careful, Michigan, because Purdue underestimated them last year after they had lost Jake Hayner and lost a lot of their great players. And Fresno State went into Purdue and got the W. Be careful, Michigan. You lost a lot as well.
I think I don't see Michigan beating, like Michigan losing to Fresno State. That's not gonna. They're not gonna get beat by Fresno, but like UCLA losing to Fresno,
No.
I can see that happening. I mean, they'll put that on like Big Ten After Dark. I mean,
It's college football crazy.
It'd be interesting, though.
Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was
do.
like, at Michigan is one thing. It's because it's at Michigan. But then I'm even looking like Sacramento State. Sacramento State's no joke of an FCS team. Sacramento State's a hell of a good team.
wait a
No,
minute.
no,
we
not at all.
don't. We don't see.
That's a definite. That's a definite.
This is so weird. We don't see
Fresno
San
State's got a
Diego
really
State
nice
on.
quarterback, though. Mikey Keene.
Well, I know, but remember, Sacramento
Fresno
State
State's quarterback.
beat their old coach last
Whoa.
year and beat Stanford at home. Their old coach.
That's right.
So Sacramento State's not a bad team, and then they have to now. New Mexico State. That's an interesting one. What's New Mexico State going to look like this year?
Yeah, without Jerry Kill, that'll be interesting.
New Mexico State peaked, and I, for some reason, have a bad feeling they're going to have a dramatic fall for poor New Mexico State.
The weird
Yeah,
thing
typically,
I noticed on the schedule. I don't see San Diego State on there. That's so weird. I mean, it feels a little out of place that Fresno, San Jose State, and San Diego State aren't playing each other every year. This is so weird.
I will say, what's the reasoning for the at UCLA is the last game of the year? Was it because UCLA didn't have nobody? What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, I mean, USC always plays Notre Dame on rivalry week in the even number years. And usually that means USC, UCLA play each other the week before rivalry week. And
I got you. Okay.
Yep.
So that's it. But it is
So Fresno
interesting.
kind of
Normally you don't see Big Ten teams play non-conference games that late in the year. So
They should
maybe
do that more.
Maybe UCLA was just trying to be nice and do them a favor. Be like, here, Fresno, we'll let you come to Cali, where you'll fill your stadium with our fans anyway, and we'll play a game against you.
I think
it could be for your season too.
It's the first year or two. It's the new scheduling with the Big Ten, and then Oregon State, Washington State being added in. Yeah, I think it's kind of just a funky mix-up between the realignments that cause some of these kind of weird-looking games.
So somebody else in the Big Ten is probably playing a non-conference game that week too, because there's there's an even number of teams. So
yeah, UCLA. I'm not sure what to expect UCLA this year, but this isn't the Big Ten preview.
I think Fresno should win that game. To be honest, I don't know.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I think UCLA is going to be not good at all for a little while.
I think Fresno could be like a sleeping giant in the Mountain West. Like I feel like they're a team that could sneak up on a lot of people. That they could be a team that makes a big jump, like gets 9-10 wins, and maybe he's in the Mountain West title game again.
They've been good for a while. I don't know if I would call them a sleeper at all. This is a pretty respected program in general.
Yeah, they've taken Power 5 teams to the wire multiple times. They've
They've
beaten
beaten them.
UCLA, but they beat UCLA before when UCLA was actually pretty decent. I mean, it's like so. I mean, Fresno is not. It's not a team you ever want to overlook.
No.
Yeah, I remember like one year, it was like 2001 or something. They opened the season with beating 2 top 10 teams with David Carr as their quarterback.
Yeah. And be honest with you, Fresno a couple years ago with Jake Hayner probably could have had 11, 12 wins, but Hayner got hurt in a couple of those games and it really hurt him.
Yep.
So I see your point.
Their quarterback now I like a lot though, Mikey Keene. He's got a live arm, good athlete, Central Florida transfer.
Yeah, he's good. He showed in that Purdue game opening day last year that he was legit. Now, I get it's against Purdue, but it is a Big Ten team still.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he lit them up, the way he did, that's still impressive.
That was a very fun game. I watched most of that. That was an exciting week 1 game.
Who knows? We could see it week 1 against Michigan. Just putting it out there. It's college football.
You never know.
Yeah, I don't
think
think I want to be Mikey Keene that week. That week might not be his most fun.
Yeah, while everyone's fresh,
while
everyone's fresh and ready to go. Yeah, that.
Wow.
But Fresno it's still a team you never overlook. Don't ever overlook Fresno State.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where he put Fresno State UCLA on a 5-game parlay.
All right, let's see here.
And they got to go at Air Force too. That'll be interesting as well.
At least they don't have to travel to Hawaii, so that saves them a bunch of travel time.
Yeah, they don't have to start the game at 11:59 p.m. the way ESPN has the time structured.
Oh, they don't have a TV contract with ESPN. They got Fox and CBS, which means they'll be on like Fox Sports 1 and CBS Sports Network.
Oh, God.
Hawaii.
I was like, geez. Oh, here you go.
Great segue, Ben, into the Rainbow Warriors.
I didn't even notice
nice
that was
segue.
work out that way. But Moose. Look at Michigan Moose here. Member for 11 months. Michigan 56. Fresno 10. Yeah. I mean, you never know. Week 1. Michigan's fresh.
That would be a very strong showing for Michigan.
That would be. That would be. I mean, that definitely would be.
I don't have that much faith in Michigan's offense to put up that many points, but yeah, who knows?
April 25th will be a full year that Moose has been a YouTube member of the Voice of College Football.
And Mark highly.
Oh dear God, what is this? What is this schedule? Oh heavens!
Yeah. Hawaii has kind of a weird one. I will say that. But Moose, Mark appreciates your commitment to the channel, as we all do, of course. We know we rag on each other, but stick in there. And Michigan will take down Fresno State. I'm pretty confident of that too.
Ben, we see Sam's alma mater, Sam Houston.
Sam, Jesus, what an awful! Hawaii goes to Sam Houston. I might have to buy tickets just to take Sam to that game to watch absolute punishment. I don't know what's going to be worse, Sam Houston or Hawaii in that game.
Well, Ben, for the lonely price of $41, you can go see it.
I bet that's sideline. And he can get alma mater fucking tickets probably for really cheap too. So
I will say UCLA going on the road to Hawaii. That's interesting. I guess that's another iteration of the expansion that we got going on.
Honestly, though, like any games that
hold on. Hold on. Shots fired back by Tim Prangley. USC 38, University of Michigan 28. Member for 11 months. Shots fired.
Yep.
Shots fired.
You can check out Tim Prangley right here on USC football at the Voice of College Football for the Conquest Call-In Show every Friday night, and Trojans Conquest every Monday night with Mark Rogers and Trojans Wire himself, Matt Zimick, and Trojans Wire, and Voice of College Football's very own Tim Prangley as they discuss the latest in USC football.
And we know
Okay.
Mark definitely appreciates Tim's support here as a member. Obviously, Tim does a lot around the network. Tim is a great guy, even though he's a USC fan. No one's perfect. Can't help that.
Have you guys seen the stadium
Well-
Hawaii plays in now?
Oh,
While they're
yeah,
while they're
hold
while
on. It's a substitute. Yeah, it's a substitute
Yeah.
stadium. But yeah,
Yeah, it's
Ralph.
like- it's
yeah,
like- it's like
this
high-
schedule, that first part of the schedule is like, what is this? This schedule. This is like so
Yeah.
odd looking.
They've got,
Oh,
they've
yeah,
got like
Hawaii
no stands at their stadium. It looks like a high school stadium.
Like,
They
it's just a
don't-
temp. It is
they don't
basically
actually
it is. It is a high school stadium, I think. But
yeah.
I mean, my God, the first game they host Delaware State. You couldn't find another team closer than Delaware to have to go to Hawaii to play in week 0.
That's
Nobody's
Hawaii
close.
for you.
They're-
Although I guess that's what they had to get something because Oregon had to pull out of that game on week 0. So
Okay.
that was what they could
And
get.
they're, I mean, they need to schedule some easy games because they're not good at all. So they're
To them, this is the easy schedule. Them going to San Diego State, to them, that's like a picnic, I guess. That's their easy cupcake game.
San Diego State. They weren't good. They were disappointing last year, but I don't know. The Fighting Hogs have been pretty good the last year for a while now.
Yeah, they do
got-
have to
That's
play.
a-
They have to play Boise. They have to play at Washington State. They have to play at Fresno.
They got 2 FCS opponents. So that means
Yeah,
if
but-
they
but
want to
they're-
get
but
ball
they're-
eligible, they got to get 7 wins.
But they, yeah, and I mean that's a bad game. Northern UNI is probably going to be favored again to beat them in that game. There,
I was
that
thinking
is
Northern
not
Iowa's
easy.
I'm thinking to myself, oh, Northern Iowa's going to get. Oh, wait, this isn't basketball. And they're not bringing out their A game like they are against Iowa or Iowa State.
Delaware State was
Congratulations to,
just like,
Northern Iowa. They got an NCAA champion wrestler last night, Parker Keckeisen. Go Panthers!
Jason, oh, that's a great comment. Just bring the whole family out. Whenever you play Iowa, bring the wife, bring the kids, bring the dogs, bring the cats. Just make it a vacation. I mean, because you're not going to be watching any entertainment down there. I mean, because Hawaii doesn't play football very good. I mean, just bring the family for a vacation.
Hey,
Just enjoy the week relaxing.
I thought about doing it next year. I thought about taking like a 4-day trip back over to Hawaii to watch that Oregon at Hawaii game, but then they had to move it because of the reschedule stuff. I was like, well, luckily I didn't book my tickets.
Well, I noticed their bye weeks are saved for earlier in the year. They don't have like a bye week for the middle of the year or the end of the year. That means after they have their bye week for week 5, they're going to play from week 6 to rivalry week, which means that we play for. No, my mistake. They got 3 bye weeks. Where are my eyes tonight?
Now, that's interesting. Especially bye weeks for teams like Hawaii. How do y'all feel about them? Like, do you like your bye weeks earlier? Do you like them in the middle? Or do you like them at the end for someone like a Hawaii? Because let's just say Hawaii starts off 4-0, and then they get a bye week, and then they play on through, and then they don't get a bye week until the very end again. And after that, it could stop their momentum completely. How do we feel about those? Do you prefer taking a bye week later in the middle, especially for teams like Hawaii, who are not very good?
Well, Hawaii's an interesting case also because of the travel. Because they travel the most by any team, so they're kind of an interesting case in that sense. I like it kind of spaced out, like bye week after like week 5, bye week after like say week 8 or 9. If you have to have if you're gonna have 2, kind of space it out. But give Hawaii as many buys as they need. Jesus.
I mean, here's the thing. What's the over under on their win total? Is it 4?
Probably in that range. 4, probably. Maybe 3.5. Maybe even 3.5. I'm not sure what to expect of Hawaii this year.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect a lot of these teams, but Hawaii's definitely one. I don't know either.
I mean, Hawaii did finish 8th last year. I mean, so if you expect a step forward,
they avoided some disaster. Braden Schrager, their quarterback, entered the portal, but he eventually withdrew his name. So if not for that, I think they would have been in a really desperate spot with the quarterback situation. I mean, you would think Timmy Chang in his third year, like they should be consistent. They should be steadily improving, but they were down bad when he got there. They were down real bad.
I noticed too, before we move on, Ben, one more thing I'd like to mention is I noticed Hawaii doesn't get those like rodeo road schedules where they play 2 or 3 opponents like in a row that are on the road. Like how in other conferences you may get those 2 or 3 where a certain team has to go on like that rodeo road trip.
Well, yeah, that
would be insane for them.
That would be
I mean, because they already have to travel so much anyway. Because they have to come back. Yeah,
I mean, they would fly like a Thursday morning, fly back Sunday morning, to then fly back Thursday morning somewhere else. Like, yeah, that'd be ridiculous. But I like the spacing at least, like home, away, home, away, home, away. That makes it at least feasible for a team like that who has to travel so much.
Yeah,
I might try to buy tickets for the Sam Houston one, just for the hell of it. Why not? Why not punish Sam for a home game for his alma mater? Why not?
Oh, Ben, you have a devious mind, my friend.
Well, he'll be like this. Even if they were to win, even if Sam Houston were to win, he'd be like, "Why did you bring me back here?" I mean, because it's 40 minutes away. Why not?
I mean, Sam Houston. They were a stink bomb in their first year in the FBS, huh?
The Nevada Wolfpack.
10th in the Mountain West. I didn't realize they were that bad. I know they didn't have a great season, obviously. I knew that. Right now, we need Neil Campbell in here dropping super chats like he always does. Where is Neil Campbell? Somebody need Neil Campbell. Neil Campbell.
Ooh.
Was he the one who kept dropping those like hundies on New Year's?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. They get the defending AAC champions, SMU, the newest member of the ACC.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
There he is, right on time to talk Wolfpack football. There we go.
Here he comes to save the
right
day.
On time to talk Wolfpack. Here we go. I'd be interested to see what Neil thinks about their 2024 schedule too. Let us know, Neil.
Troy, what do y'all think about that game?
Troy's an interesting team. Troy has kind of been up and down. They're usually. This is not great though. SMU, Troy, Georgia Southern at Minnesota, and Eastern Washington. I don't know what to make of Eastern Washington right now either. They're good, but they kind of have been hit and miss too over the last few years.
Yeah.
That's not a nice front-loaded schedule, though.
I don't know. Nevada's been as a program. This team has been kind of not the most stable lately. I mean, they lost their coach to in conference opponent, rival. So I don't know. Expectations aren't typically very high at Nevada, outside of like a few years with Chris Alt, and obviously when Kaepernick was there. Outside of that, this has not been a very successful program.
No,
And I don't think that's changing this year.
Yeah, like Neil says too, right here. It's like, hey, we haven't played a game yet with the new coaching staff, so who knows? That's very fair. This is not a nice schedule though with SMU. Yeah, what you're going to get with Troy,
Georgia Southern.
Southern, and then at Minnesota, what you're going to get with Minnesota, and then even Eastern Washington. It's not a very nice.
At Boise State,
yeah,
going to the blue
Boise.
field, that's always troublesome for any team.
Well, I noticed that they used the Hawaii rule to their advantage because they have 5 non-conference games. So, so for those who don't know the rule, if you're playing at Hawaii, you can schedule an extra non-conference game if you want.
That's an odd rule. I've never really understood behind that.
I actually kind of like that rule, honestly.
Yeah, to be honest with you, they're another team that we're going to find out a lot about the first couple of weeks, especially with their new coaching staff. I'm looking forward to see how they play, especially with their home opener against SMU. The SMU's coming to them in Nevada. There's a little altitude in Nevada, just a little bit. I don't think it's a lot, but there's a little bit. It's definitely an advantage playing in Vegas. And we'll see how prepared SMU is.
Nevada's about 7 hours away from Vegas.
Yeah. Neil said it was like
400 miles.
But you're still at home though, so
yeah, Reno.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to SMU, but it's still not an easy task to start the season off with. But with a new staff and all the time to prepare, you never know. They do host Oregon State. They host Fresno. They are at Boise. And at Minnesota. It's not a pleasant schedule, I won't say.
It is brutal. I mean, I honestly, I think they're dogs in their first 5 games here. So
now, I know the game's at Minnesota, but would Minnesota potentially play down to the competition of Nevada, and maybe that game's a little closer than we expect because they did it with Bowling Green a couple years ago?
Oh well, I mean, it would be about that big of an upset, though. I mean, that's just I'm not expecting.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
but it's Minnesota though. Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to just agree. I was like, you never know what's going to happen. We'll know more about Minnesota by that time, as well as Nevada here. And at this point, I would say Minnesota's favored, but are they favored by how much? Is it like 3? I mean, like.
I'll tell you what. If Minnesota drops that game to Nevada, PJ Fleck's got to get his agent on line 1 after that, and start planning the next stage of his professional career, because that would be an unacceptable loss.
So you think that would be the end of PJ Fleck almost?
I think it could be. I think it could if they lost that one.
I mean, with all due respect to Nevada too, we could see Nevada be a surprise team next year. Like we said, they could be that surprise team that comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're like, "Whoa, what the hell?" Yeah. But it would not be at that point early in the season. Yeah, most Minnesota fans would be going, "Our season's done, isn't it?" But that early in the season,
Yeah, outside of the Kaepernick years though. I mean, has Nevada really been a threat at all?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's true. I will
Hmm.
say at UNLV to end the year, that ought to be interesting because I'm kind of curious who packs in more fans when it comes to this rivalry, if you can call it that. Who has
Well,
a
it's
better
gonna be
fan base?
UNLV with UNLV having the Raiders Stadium, obviously.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah, I
just
forgot. They
that
get to
still
borrow
is
that.
that still is absolutely absurd to me that UNLV plays 3 games.
Well, Miami
Yeah,
borrows
NFL
the
stadium.
Dolphin Stadium.
Was it?
The Hurricanes borrow the Dolphin Stadium.
Yeah, that's Miami football. That's not UNLV football. That's we'll talk more about the
Uh,
rivalry in a few minutes, I'm sure.
Well, I mean,
It's
if you want to
inevitable.
get a college kid to come to UNLV, just tell them that you can be able to gamble all you want or go to casinos for vacations. You got the perfect vacation spot right here in Vegas.
I don't think you
Jackson.
want. I don't think the type of person who that would be a selling point is the type of person you necessarily want in your college football.
Right.
Yeah, Jackson. We
That
do
would be a
not
selling
encourage
point for
bad
me.
behavior.
You don't want me on your team, probably.
We do not encourage that bad behavior, Jackson. Mister, this is a wholesome content. They're just going to play football. Get your head out the gutter.
At least wait till after the game because it's 24-hour gambling, anyways. Moving on. Nevada is an interesting
Moving
story,
on.
though. Nevada will be interesting with the new coaching staff. But yeah, those first 5 weeks, 6 weeks are going to tell a lot about that coaching staff. That is for sure. What do we have?
You got the
Does like this
Oh,
whole league have a
no.
new coach? It's like every team. I feel like
It kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
First or
yeah,
second
but
year
this
coach.
team, yeah, but this team, the Metzco, has Bronco Mendenhall as their Nets head coach. I'm curious to see
Yeah.
what this brings to the university. I mean, I'm not really
Ooh.
expecting Mount West title or anything for the future. I'm expecting more like 8-win seasons, really.
Ooh, look at this. Arizona
This is-
and
oof.
Auburn back-to-back weeks.
Yeesh.
That's going to be fun, and they're both at home. Oh,
Well, they got that bye week before they play Auburn.
Yeah, both are on the road.
You know
though.
Auburn's got to be up
could
for
be
that
brutal.
game. Auburn's got to be. They're not taking that game as lightly as they normally would this year.
oh, my bad.
And
They're
honestly,
both on the road.
Montana State is going to be a very difficult game for them to win too.
Yeah, that's
Montana
not
State
an easy.
I feel
Montana
like
State
we're getting.
will probably be. They'll be like a 2-touchdown underdog against Montana State, probably.
I
Yeah,
feel
wasn't
like
it Montana?
No, they're going to be.
Yeah.
Montana
Wasn't
State
it
was
Montana or was? Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Montana State. I mean, they were one of the best teams in FCS last year.
Now, were they the team that beat Washington a couple years ago, or was that Montana?
No,
That
that was
got
was
Montana's
Montana.
mixed up.
Yeah, that was Montana.
Okay, got my Montana's mixed up. But Montana State, though, they're not an easy team to beat, though.
No.
Well, I kind of feel like we're pretty much getting all the appetizers we can get for week 0 to prepare us for the full course meal that is week 1. I mean, we're getting like the best game, Florida State, Georgia Tech for week 0, the second best SMU Nevada, and like we're getting this piece of junk game, New Mexico Montana State.
That one might be one of the better ones.
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, why even have that week? What does that week, other than to just make all these teams' schedules a little wonkier?
Sean,
I mean, why
Sean,
even have that?
Sean, how dare you talk bad about week 0? Because your ass is going to be sitting on the couch watching it too.
Well, and I
You're
gotta
not
say
wrong.
though,
You're not wrong. But
I gotta say though, to come to the defense of week 0, it gets these smaller teams, it gets some brand attention because it's in the middle towards the end of August. It's like it's summer, and diehards like us want something to watch because basketball's gone. Not everyone likes baseball, so it's like, oh, cool, Montana State and New Mexico on ESPN at 8:30. Let's turn it on. Let's see how this goes.
And
Joe.
Jackson, I want to see a point here. Could some of these games be flexed to sometime during the week, a Wednesday or Thursday night games? Because the Mountain West used to have a lot of those, and they seem to have stopped doing them lately, and I don't know why.
I think they will flex some of these games to Thursday night, Friday night, because once again the first 3 weeks haven't been announced yet. They'll be announced for I believe the last week of May, and
Okay.
the Thursday Friday games will be announced real soon. Now that's probably going to be sometime in April.
Okay.
And sometime in May.
So these games, these are just the weeks that they're playing these games right now, right? They're not. The date is.
Yeah.
Dates aren't. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll know more on who's going to be on Thursday, on Friday. Mount West doesn't do Wednesday night games. We know Conference USA does. The MAC does. The Sun Belt does.
Action. Gotta have those action nights.
Now, I want to say, you brought up a great point earlier, Sean, how you said Auburn's going to be taking this game more seriously.
Oh, yeah.
But part of me still thinks that they're going to play down to the competition again because it's not Alabama or Georgia. And I've had this discussion with Jackson because he believes in Hugh Freeze and thinks that they won't do that. Well, I kind of think this would be a perfect way to figure out if this is truly if they fix the problem, because I think it's an effort issue. Like someone like New Mexico, they should run off the field. This shouldn't even be a contest. But something tells me it might be closer than we think it will be.
Yeah.
Maybe. It is early in the season, though, so Auburn should be at peak condition, too. Fired up for the season.
Should be.
You could make an argument, I think, over the last 20 years, New Mexico might be the worst program in the FBS. I mean, they are just horrid year after year after year. I really wonder if they would ever, consider dropping down a level.
Like Idaho?
Yep.
And I don't know if they're going to, but you're going to learn a lot with at Arizona, at Auburn, Fresno State, and Montana State. You're going to learn a lot.
Arizona didn't lose their roster like a lot of teams that lost their coaches.
No, I know. But at Arizona, they did keep a lot of key pieces. And then even at New Mexico State, what is New Mexico State going to look like? Obviously, without Jerry Kill. New Mexico State might still be pretty good this year. We don't know. These first 5-6 weeks are going to tell a lot about the Lobos season. I'm not even concerned about the rest of the season. I'm just like, this is going to tell you a lot.
I'll tell you what, this is a program, though. You win 5 games, it'll probably build a statue for you.
Could you imagine going into Air Force with the Lobos undefeated? I think all of our heads would explode.
College game day would be like, oh my gosh, do you see this resurrection of New Mexico football? We got to go here next weekend. Who cares if it's the Red River rivalry? Let's go to this program. I don't think they'd ever do that, but that would be funny if they did.
Don't feel bad, Tim. Joey is a ghost, so it happens. He's an old man from West Virginia.
It's okay, Tim. We're here for you. Don't you worry. We're here for you.
Foster's is a good beer. It is a good beer. All right, Lobos, your time is done. We're not spending our time like we did on Merrimack.
But we are going to spend our time on San Diego State, who's
Well, we have
doing
to do
really
the-
well. Oh, wait, this is not college basketball. My bad. This is San Diego State football, where they had a bad season last year in Brady Holt's final year, but they're starting the new era, the Sean Lewis era.
What in the world is that first game?
I had to ask Jackson to look up that logo because I was like, "What is that?" I was like, "Okay, that's a win." Oregon State,
Texas A&M.
no, at Cal, from Michigan. I mean, right here, they're starting off pretty brutal. Minus A&M. If it was the A&M Commerce, watch the season.
And they got to go to Boise. So that'll.
So is
And
that
Well, they should have.
that's at Central Michigan?
And they got Oregon State, Washington State coming to their backyard.
They should have at least. They should at least start the season 1-0. They can brag that they were undefeated for at least a week. Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be bragging about being unbeaten after beating Texas A&M Commerce.
Well, Jackson, it's San Diego State. you take your bragging how you get it.
I don't.
San Diego State's been they've been. I mean, they didn't have a good year last year, but this has been one of the better programs.
Okay. Hold on. I have to quickly address the chat here. I have to address the chat. I heard Foster's is gross. Never tried it. Foster's is gross. Foster's ew. Foster's not that great. You all have no taste. That's the problem. Sorry, Neil. Even you have no taste. Foster's is great beer. Australian good beer. All right.
I've never had it either, but I don't drink shit beers anyway. So
I'm probably the wrong guy to go to about beers. Honestly,
Sean called it a shit beer, so he was removed. I have the power, Sean.
Well-
Don't test me.
my bad.
Well, and we see they also go
I
at
did say I've never
Wyoming.
had it before.
San Diego State
I
does
like
go at
Thursday.
Wyoming. That
No, they host Hawaii.
no, I said at Wyoming.
Oh, at Wyoming, yeah.
It should be interesting to see what Cal will be like this year. If last year was a fluke year, or if Cal's actually back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Cal's not going to be thinking too much about San Diego State after they play Auburn.
Well, they better.
was,
I think San Diego State's beaten plenty of Pac teams.
yeah, they have. Cal is always kind of an interesting team in the sense of when you look at it, because like last year, not great at times, and the other times you were like, damn, that's a good looking Cal team. And they just never could put it together.
Yeah, because I know Sean Lewis did all right at Kent State, and then he was like the OC for a year at Colorado.
Yeah, it was
last year.
Yeah. He eventually had play calling stripped from him, though. Yeah.
Ooh, what about this towards the back half, the end of the year? At UNLV, at Utah State, and then they get Air Force at home. Ooh, I would not want to be San Diego State.
Well, that's not a difficult run of games there. I mean, those aren't
Well,
amazing teams. Those are
well,
UNLV's. UNLV's should be pretty good, I guess, this year. Utah State's no. Air Force will be good, I guess, but that's not particularly daunting, I don't think.
It's the first half of the season is pretty brutal, I think, and then obviously at Boise and the Air Force, depending on what Air Force looks like halfway through the season. But I mean, it's not gonna be. It could be a good season or a really bad season. Just saying.
Yeah.
Moving on. Oh,
Sounds
wait. Oh, I almost skipped over a couple teams. How can we leave out the Spartans?
Yes, the team that opened up their season in week 0 last year against the USC Trojans. And this year they open up with Sacramento State. Well, it was nice while it lasted, I guess. They had their spotlight.
Well, and they got Navy's old head coach Ken Namatata Lolo.
Yeah, I don't even try to pronounce it half the time.
Ooh, they get Stanford the last week of the year.
Yeah. Well,
No,
I think it had a lot
they've
to do.
They've got one of the FBS's newest additions in week 3 against Kennesaw State.
And
So,
they go to Washington State and Oregon State. You know, San Jose State is one of the 3 teams in the Mount West to play Washington State and Oregon State in the 2024 season.
Yeah.
They lose their excellent quarterback though, Chevin Cordero.
Yeah, Cordero.
So,
God,
lost out.
we're gonna miss.
And Neil Campbell
Right there.
brings up a great point in the chat. Another new head coach. The Mountain West seems
Like
full
every
of them this
single
year.
It's just I don't know who in this league. It'd be interesting to see, like, one, who is the longest serving head coach in this league, and 2, how many are in either their first or second year. I guess Troy Calhoun would have to be the longest
Mm-hmm. Yup,
head coach.
he's your man.
So outside of Air Force, I don't know. There's maybe 1 or 2 other teams that have a coach that has been there longer than the previous season.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Jeff Tedford and Blake Anderson and Timmy Shane. That's all I can think of at the moment.
Moose has a winning choice here for his liquors of choice here. He's got Crown Royal, Johnny Walker Black. Well, those are solid. That's a solid go-to.
Oh, Johnny Walker.
May have to be a little bit nicer to JJ McCarthy, so maybe I can get to Moose's liquor cabinet. He should go number 1. JJ, best quarterback in college football, best quarterback in the world. Period.
But yeah, let's go back to San Jose State schedule for a moment. I am curious to see what's going on with it.
Yeah, they go at Oregon State. That'll be fun, especially since they played them last year and it was at home. Now they're going to Beaver Stadium. Should be fun. And, Oregon State had a really good showing against them last year after they did what they did against USC, put up 28 points. And then we later find out that it was because USC's defense. Sorry, Tim. Love you to death. But their defense was still. But then Oregon State just showed that they were head and shoulders the better team. Now that they're possibly on an even playing field, this game could be so much better now.
Sorry, which game are we talking about?
Oregon State.
Oregon State, San Jose State.
Yeah, I really want. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see Oregon State and Washington State after hemorrhaging all the talent that they did this offseason. See if they can see how they do against the modified Mountain West schedule, because the teams they had last year would have dominated the schedules they're playing this year. I think Oregon State would have ripped right through the Mountain West last year, but they're not going to be anywhere close.
Well, that's why everyone said too. Another new head coach too with the Mountain West. That's it. Say with Oregon State, technically a new head coach. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of unknowns in this conference to what they were, and so it's very interesting. Obviously, some have the same coaches and stuff, but yeah, it's very interesting to see. But yeah, it's kind of funny. San Jose State gets Washington State, Oregon State, and Stanford. So basically, 3 Pac/former Pac-12 schools.
Oh yeah, San Jose State did actually lose. I totally forgot. Brett Brennan, the head coach, went to
Arizona.
So that's got to be a significant loss. And yeah, historically, this is not a very good program either. So
yeah, because last year was last year. This year's this year. So San Jose is going to be one of those teams to watch this year and see what they do, how they start.
They seem to me, I don't know. This is a team I think they're going to drop off considerably this year.
Yeah. Well, we might find out with Sacramento State. Because Sacramento State, again, is no joke team.
No, not at all.
That's for sure. They are no joke. But
Stanford found that out.
Yep.
I think you'll be
last year.
I think you might be surprised how many of these FCS teams beat these Mountain West teams this year. I'm seeing a lot of potential upsets. I mean, they're not scheduling like they're really bad. They're not playing Portland State. They're not playing these garbage.
Yeah.
FCS teams.
But before we move on, if you love exclusive live streams, watch parties, predictions, betting advice, and insider looks in all of college football, go to patreon.com/MarkRogersTV or become a YouTube member of the Voice of College Football, where you can get some of the best insider knowledge in all of college football.
You're too good at that shit.
I do my best.
All right, we're just trying to move along here. Now we have the UNLV Rebels.
Yeah, so 3 teams.
UNLV, the running Rebels.
Oh man, UNLV's got an interesting I like their non-con schedule. Nice. I mean, they got Houston. They got that rematch from the 2023 Guaranteed Rate Bowl against Kansas. And they got Syracuse coming to their backyard. I'm loving it.
The Syracuse one still is so bizarre to me. That one's just such a weird one.
Now, I have to admit. Oh, go ahead, Jackson.
I was going to say, can UNLV be that group of 5 represent? Oh, right. This 12-team playoff, not 4 teams or, New Year's 6. But, I know there's going to be a lot of competition for that group of 5 spot. Can UNLV do just enough to get there?
Sure.
Yeah, I will say at Houston to open up the year, that's going to be a really fun game, especially since Willie Fritz, it'll be his first game as a Houston Cougar. And after the success he took Tulane to, let's see if he can get the Cougars rolling again. But UNLV is going to be no easy challenge. I look for this to be a sleeper game week 1.
Oh yeah.
It's a good game.
Don't go to
No,
sleep
if-
on
now-
UNLV campus either.
I'll say if Barry Odom can put together another season like he did last year, I think he's going to have some options at the Power 5 level.
Oh, if that were me, I would just stay in Vegas if I were Barry Odom.
Maybe this has been like one of the worst programs in the country historically. Have they ever had back-to-back winning seasons, Jackson? I don't think they have.
I believe they have, but this like way before.
No.
Now, here's my thing for UNLV. What's their expectations for this year? Are we considering them a dark horse to win the Mountain West, or what are we thinking for them? Because they're an interesting team.
I don't know. I wasn't expecting anything from. Well, I guess I was expecting them to be better last year, but I don't know. I just have to look at their roster more and see who exactly they have coming back. But I tell you, they had a really, really fun bowl game against Kansas.
Oh man, that was
Yeah.
fun.
Now, what was it with them scheduling Kansas again, even though they played them in the bowl game? Because normally that rarely ever
Well,
happens. What was the
well,
deal
I
with
believe-
that?
Well, they got a home and home with Kansas. They didn't really know they were going to be playing them in a bowl game years before.
Yeah, it's like these are all scheduled. These are all scheduled at least 3 to 5 years probably in advance. I mean, this is not. It was just kind of circumstance that it just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, and probably neither one of the schools even really expect to be in bowl games most years. So
True. They were just happy
Yeah,
with what they
true.
got.
I will say it'll be interesting to see if Syracuse against UNLV, especially in Raider Stadium, see if Syracuse actually plays like the team we know they can be, and not worry about when Clemson is coming and when they're not.
So, do more than like a few thousand people go to UNLV games? How are they playing in Allegiant Stadium? Like you
It's
can't
just probably
find more
it has to just be a general community partnership type thing.
I just like.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I didn't really see any of their games. I didn't really notice the crowd at any of their games last year, but I do have to make sure I check that out. See,
Why do I hear like this hint of jealousy from Sean?
what?
He's like, why do they get to play in Allegiant Stadium?
No, I mean, you want to have 10,000 people in a 70,000 person seat stadium? Did it even get 10,000 people? No one in Vegas cares about UNLV. No one in Vegas is from Vegas. The last thing they care about.
That is, I will say, at least 50% true. Most people from Vegas are not from Vegas. I will
Now,
agree with you on that.
Now, the interesting thing about UNLV, like you said, Sean, since they play in Allegiant Stadium, I noticed week 1 they're going at Houston, like I mentioned. What would they have done if UNLV would have been playing in Allegiant Stadium week 1, but then LSU USC was also they play in Allegiant Stadium that week as well? Do they just double up on games or play on different days? How does that work exactly?
What was the question again? I don't think I quite understood.
Oh no, for Austin, it's the same as like if they play on a Saturday at Allegiant Stadium, and then the NFL plays the next day. They just roll out the new turf for the NFL.
I got you. Okay. Kind of
So-
like with the Lakers and Clippers. They share it.
I'll
And
tell
the
you
Giants,
what.
Giants, Jets, they just roll out different
I was
stuff.
thinking more like South Florida and the Buccaneers and how Pittsburgh and the Steelers used to share Heinz Field.
Yeah, whenever there's a shared stadium, I mean, they just have to schedule road game or home game and then just or alternate. So it's the same as this. They just have to because like Pac-12 championship was there. Next day the Raiders are playing. They would just roll out new turf and change all the
I kind
markings.
of hate the shared stadium things in a way, but that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I think almost every FBS team should be required to have an on-campus stadium. That's my thoughts on that. And any games played at UNLV in the first 6 weeks, you do run the risk of having like 105-degree weather.
Well, yeah, that's what LFG said. Exactly. It's like godforsaken desert heat. Exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah. So maybe that's actually a good reason to have them out.
That's why I say I think it's more of a general community support of the university. Like, hey,
They
you
need
want to
something
use it on a
good.
Saturday? Yeah, you want to use it on a Saturday? We can work that with you.
They need something good, Sean. Just in case their season goes bad, at least they can enjoy a nice stadium.
Yeah.
All right, UNLV.
And onward to Utah State.
Now, Utah State made a bowl game last year, so it'll be interesting to see how they follow that up again.
Oh man, USC.
Oh,
Utah.
yikes.
Well, on the
They
bright
go
side, maybe I know that BYU had to say that the Utah State series was off for a little while because of BYU joining the Big 12, but maybe they could bring it back next year. Like maybe we could see like BYU, Utah, and Utah State play one another. But Utah State's in big trouble because I mean USC is going to come
Robert
rolling.
Morris.
USC and then Utah, like back to back, like yeesh.
And they go to Rice Eccles. Oh, that's even worse.
No.
No,
That
was
game's
this-
at Utah State for against
Oh,
Utah.
okay, my bad. The
what
screen's
did it-
kind
what
of
does
tiny.
it
My
say
bad.
that- Wait, what did it say right there? The ticket prices for Utah State, Robert
USC.
Morris, is that $75?
It's 75.
Yep. $75 to holler.
People are paying minimum $75 to watch Utah State, Robert Morris. Is that what we're led to believe
So
here?
that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Okay.
But yeah,
Wait till
USC
get it on
and Utah.
StubHub the day of the game, and it'll probably be like $1 or $2.
USC, then Utah, then at Temple, then they have a bye, then at Boise. I don't know what to make of
Yikes.
Temple right now, but not a nice stretch minus the bye week. Ugh.
You're going from Temple
Well-
to Boise. That's nuts.
I do think though that week 2 game against USC could either go really good or really bad because let's just play this out. What if they beat LSU? USC could be celebrating, be all happy, and then it's like Utah State comes to town and it could be a really close game. And then it gives Utah State something to look forward to. Or who knows, USC comes off a loss, it could just beat the brakes off of them.
Oh yeah, well yeah, no.
Yeah.
Utah State will be looking forward to that game. Yeah, that's a good point in that game. What happens with USC to
Oh,
determine what they do?
Well,
Pull up this
Mel or
comment
Moz.
pull up this comment by Ralph here, talking about Merlin Olsen here. Yeah, there is. I don't know if anybody would ever argue with you. Certainly not at the moment that he's the best player in their school's history. Jordan Love may enter the conversation, have something to say about that, but Merlin Olsen's like a top 5 defensive lineman of all time. So,
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'm noticing in the schedule, just off of looking at it right now, is of course at USC, home versus Utah. Then they're at Temple. Then they have a bye before they go at Boise. Same as later in the season at Wyoming, at Washington State. They have a bye between it. So when they have back-to-back road games, they have a bye between those. So that's actually kind of a nice place to have your byes.
yes.
Obviously, that's due to scheduling, but that's a perfect place to have your bye weeks.
So I think I remember this earlier. Is the season longer this year? Because now teams are generally getting multiple buys during the season, right? That hasn't been a thing lately.
It's usually a thing once. It's usually a thing once like every 5 to 6 years, especially when the last Saturday of November is like a November 30th or November 29th.
Yeah, when there's 5 Saturdays in November.
Yep.
Okay, but yeah, like that'll be interesting.
The more football, the merrier.
Regular season's 14 weeks this year instead of 13. So.
I want to see more. I want to see every year be like a 14-week season more often.
I don't know if we need more than one bye during the week. I think the games get a little bit watered down if you stretch it out too much. But
I mean, we see how it goes. I know every change you have, you always go, and guess what? You still watch it because you love
of course,
it.
Yeah.
No.
But this Saturday the 7th through October 5th is going to say a lot about what Utah State is going to be. Even with
Yeah.
Temple.
That's a great point, Ben. Because they just got to survive. Because if they want to be a bowl team, they just got to survive. Like, can you steal 1 or 2 of those games? Like, maybe go at Boise and sneak a win on them. Something to ensure when you get to your back half, you could possibly still make a bowl game.
Yeah,
I don't.
This opening stretch. I mean, they could easily be 2-3 or 1-4.
Well, it shouldn't be pretty. It shouldn't be. It starts off pretty easy. It shouldn't.
Well, that's
be
what I mean. This is the one.
It shouldn't be.
This is the one. This is the one win. But then they could lose all these, or win Temple, or could they shock?
It shouldn't be hard to beat just
Utah
one
or
guy,
something like that.
I don't think. Right? It shouldn't be hard to beat just one guy, Robert Morris.
I shouldn't laugh at that because there have probably been teams that have lost to just one guy before.
Yeah.
That Robert Morris game is
Reggie White.
$75.
I think Reggie White could have won some games. Aaron Donald could probably beat some teams.
The Wyoming Utah State game tickets are as low as $37.
That just shows you how much confidence they have in this team.
Well, I mean, look at this. Look at this. At Boise State, 39.
That's
nuts. These are absurd. You're telling me like the Robert Morris game is twice as exciting as a Boise State game?
I'm gonna guess it's just because it's the first game of the year. That's what I'm gonna guess.
I don't know.
And be like, let's go to
$75.
Also,
let's go to
in fairness, at Wyoming, at Boise State, so the seating is not going to be great. This is like the fan zone, so they're going to be stuck in like the back sections or whatever. So in all fairness, there are reasons to it, but yeah, that's stupid low prices.
I know you can get even you can go to like major games. Like if Illinois and Indiana, sometimes you can get those tickets for like $10-11 sometimes. I mean, like
They're charging arm and a leg for that Utah game.
The week of the game, they drop a lot in a lot of those places. That's what I always tell people. Unless you're buying for Ohio State, Michigan, or something, don't purchase your tickets until it gets close to game time because they always drop, almost always.
200
to buy your tickets.
$249 to go watch Utah State. Now, it is Utah, so I can get it.
Yeah, it's in state. Yeah, it's kind of you expect a lot of alum, maybe of both, because you're expecting maybe a little split. Yeah, but you can see the price difference between them. It's like, yeesh. That one's. But these are the weeks to look forward to. Maybe not Robert Morris.
Yeah,
these are definitely the weeks.
Yeah, USC game.
That was a stretch.
Hey, Tim, Robert Morris is a bigger attraction than USC, apparently.
Yeah, that's a stretch right there. That's a stretch.
3 wins.
He was talking about Reno, I think, but I kind of missed that when I pulled it up. All right,
And
we're
finally,
getting,
we have the
we're not getting not
Time for the
final.
Cowboys. Yeehaw! Let me saddle up my horse and head to Wyoming. Let me wrestle in a cow. Let me go wrestle in that Sun Devil.
But the first time without Greg Bowl in quite some years. At Arizona State, that's going to be an interesting one. Because Andy Avalos is now working with Arizona State. Avalos is now working with Arizona State from Boise. So that's going to be interesting. And Kenny Dillingham's second year.
It's in the desert. Crazy things happen, as you know, Ben. Oregon experienced it in 2019.
Yep. The desert is evil.
Yeah.
And didn't they beat Texas Tech last year? The week after?
Yes. No, the week
Texas
before
Tech
they
almost beat Oregon.
Yep.
The week before.
CBS.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The week before.
CBS.
Yeah.
But again, Greg Bowl is not there now. But I think most of the staff is intact. But you have at Arizona State, Idaho, you should win that one. Then you host BYU. That could be an interesting one, depending on what BYU looks like.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, BYU, man. They can. Oh, man. That's going to be fun watching that game.
I believe Keith Slovis is not the quarterback. I know. Who is their quarterback this year? Because it was Keith Slovis last year. Who's BYU's quarterback now?
Jake Retzlaff.
Retzlaff? Okay.
Oh my gosh. What kind of last name is that?
It's a last name.
He's not even on my radar, so that's why I was like, Retzlaff. Okay.
Well, BYU will be a to be determined game.
At North Texas, that could be a really fun game.
Yeah, this isn't a bad schedule.
No, not really. This is
like,
not...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying, no, not really. This is not a bad schedule at all.
And like Sean mentioned, Wyoming has potential to pull off upset against Arizona like they did Texas Tech. And part of it could be because they were looking ahead to you guys in Oregon, but they could pull off another week 1 upset.
Yeah, getting BYU in their stadium, I do think that's a big home field advantage playing at that altitude. So
that'll be a week after BYU plays SMU.
But yeah, this is not a bad schedule. I mean, the worst thing here is at Arizona State. They do host Boise State, and then they have to go to Washington State. It's not the worst schedule by any means, and they host Air Force.
Did want to mention they do play Idaho. Idaho is one of the they're the only team in recent memory to drop from FBS to FCS, and it's kind of where it's worked out pretty well for them. They've actually been competitive as opposed to dealing with 1-11 and 2-10 seasons year after year.
Yeah, but the schedule sets up pretty nicely though for Wyoming, really, in their first year without Greg Bowl.
I would say 7-8 wins is not out of the possibility, especially if they could pull off an upset over BYU or Arizona State. I could see 7-8 wins and a nice little bowl game for them.
So I wasn't aware that Gary Bohannon is at BYU now. He was a quarterback last year at South Florida, but he was a starter for Baylor during a year where they won like 10. I think the year that they lost.
They lost. No, that was the year they lost to Oklahoma, I think, right? They blew the lead in the title.
Yeah, that's
game.
right. That's right.
Yeah. And then he transferred. Surprisingly, he transferred out. So now he's okay.
So he's been around for a very long time because I believe that was 2019.
That was 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the Rob Farmer.
Yeah, we know.
Like, yes, I know.
Well,
we
only got 2 more teams left.
When you're talking Mountain West football, I mean, you just lose track of time.
Well, again, we did spend about 15 minutes on whatever that team is called. I can't even remember the name.
Marymount or where
I can't even remember the name.
Marymount.
Hey, Mountain West football can be entertaining.
It can be, and this does set up this schedule really. Yeah, exactly like you said, Austin. If they could pull a stunner, so to say, over like Arizona State or like say a BYU, yeah, you could be looking at a nice still 7-win season, which would keep right on path for Wyoming to just move along in the new coaching staff. So I mean, we do have to go ahead and look at the alliance teams, so to say.
Two-pack.
Yeah.
The Washington State Cougars.
Well, at least we get to see Washington State on week 3. I don't know if they're going to have that on for Friday night or put it on like Thursday night, because I feel like if you're putting it on Saturday, it's going to be competing against Alabama, Wisconsin, and like a few other games.
That could be a later Friday night game, like a 6:30 Pacific game.
I must say, Texas Tech and then Washington. So they didn't chicken out. They were like, "Here, we'll play two really good teams. We're not gonna play chicken. We're gonna schedule good."
Texas Tech, Washington State. That's the Mike Leach Bowl.
Yep.
Right.
Love it.
Two of the most remote power conference schools in the country. Both of them do not have a major airport within like 2 or 3 hours.
No, the flight from like Houston to Lubbock direct nonstop is hour and 55 minutes, and the direct from Dallas is like an hour, maybe 55 minutes. But yeah, that airport is like in Lubbock is like
it's a shoe.
9 gates tops.
Now, this is a really big key that I think a lot of people are overlooking when it comes to Washington State. Cam Ward transferred to Miami, so Cam Ward will no longer be here. How does this hurt this offense? Because
So
he
let's-
was a dynamic playmaker for this team. Will they take a step back?
Sorry, I'm trying to look at that. I can't. Where was the neutral site for the Washington
I
State game?
believe it's
That would be
in
probably-
Children's Mercy Park.
Lumen Field in Seattle.
No, Lumen Field. You're
Lumen
right.
Field in
Lumen
Seattle.
Field. Yeah,
How was that a neutral site?
it's just because
Well,
it's not at their
Seattle.
stadiums. It's not at their stadiums.
Not in their stadium? Okay, I guess. I mean, it's in their city.
Hey, hello. How is
They're not
Oregon
gonna-
playing Georgia? How is Oregon playing Georgia in Atlanta a neutral site game? That's more neutral.
Well,
than
that's
that,
still like
so.
a few. That's still like two. That's still like 2 hours away from Georgia's campus. It's not like it's right there. They're
It's not 2
They're
hours
exactly
away.
in city.
No, Sean, I'm done with you tonight.
Yeah, Georgia, Oregon was basically playing in Georgia's backyard.
Anyways, I was just using that as an example to be like, yeah, that's not a neutral site. Like,
No,
but this one's
yeah.
at least in the same state, at least. But yeah, Texas Tech, then Washington. They have to go to Boise, at Fresno,
Oh,
and at Oregon State.
Ben, do you think Washington State can still make a bowl game?
I need to know. I need to see what their backup quarterback can do. That's the big thing. Their coaching staff stayed in place a lot, but what do they have left on the team? You know, that's kind of the question mark. Could they? Yes. Could they miss it? Yes. I mean,
to all
Now,
the people,
Ben, would you say
to all the
What was that,
people that
Austin?
are in the road who are slandering the Michigan roads, you're absolutely correct. They are awful. I've probably spent about $20,000 on car repairs in the last like 10 years, just getting completely wrecked.
I'm just
we
gonna.
need toll roads. We need tolls.
I'm just gonna say real quick, Ben. Do you think Washington State made it out better than Oregon State did? That they're more they'll do better than Oregon State will with this kind of schedule because they suffered the least amount of damage.
I mean, they did lose Cam Ward, who I will say this last year definitely was like up and down. He had his like amazing games where you're like, there he is, and the other games where you're like, what is he doing? I mean, again, I could see them bowling, or I could see them missing a bowl game in this year. This is kind of a because again, these first 5 weeks are going to tell a lot. Florida State, that should be a win, but then Texas Tech, Washington, San Jose State, even okay. So just say they go 2-2, then Boise, and then at Fresno. It's kind of like these 6 weeks are going to tell you a lot about this team of what Dicker has.
It's not an easy stretch at all. They could lose. I mean, they should beat San Jose State, but the rest of them, I could very easily see them losing. Probably going to be underdogs, maybe in all of them. We'll see. Fresno's going to be close, but
Yeah, it's not a great way to start the season. That's why those first 4 or 5 weeks, you're going to learn a lot about this team for sure. Now the back half is not that bad, I don't think. Maybe minus Oregon State, and that's just because they're the two technical rivals, still in this, even though the Pac teams, they're familiar with each other. But the back half is not that bad. It's that first 5-6 weeks.
Now they are all at home, so that does help. but they don't have a bye week like some of the other teams do. They play them straight on through, which
Well,
that can either be a hindrance or.
They
Go
have a
ahead.
bye week. They do have a bye week before Boise, or I'm sorry, before Fresno. But yeah, that first 5 is going to tell you a lot.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Washington State catches fire and can somehow upset either Tech or Washington, and just prattles off 5 or 6 in a row. I mean, we've seen that done before.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, that first half is the brutal part. The next half, not so bad, minus maybe Oregon State, just because again the familiarity within the teams.
Yeah.
Which speaking of Oregon State, Ben, how is their schedule looking? Because the Beavers, they lost a lot, as we know. The poor Beavs, so sad. I know you probably don't
Yeah.
feel bad for them, Ben, but
No. I started off. There was a little joking, but I was like, look, I'm not talking bad about the Beavers or the Cougs because they got absolutely taken out to the woodshed and got abused more than anyone ever should. For no reason, basically, at all.
well, I'm glad that they were able to keep. Oh, go ahead, Ben.
No. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm agreeing. So I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm glad they kept Oregon State. Even though Oregon may slaughter them because Oregon State's got to rebuild. But I'm glad the rivalry's sticking around for a little longer. But go ahead.
Yeah, obviously that's the goal is to keep that an annual thing. It's a little weird, obviously, to see it at week 3, not rivalry week, but Texas Tech did a favor and rescheduled the home and home with us, so that helped out to be able to put this rivalry where it is. But then they have to host Oregon, then they have to host Purdue and host Colorado State, and it just depends on what. I don't know what to make of the Beavers right now because they lost.
I really don't either.
Quite a lot. They lost a lot.
Yeah, I mean this was a team too. Like if the college football world didn't collapse, this was a team that I think could have had like real playoff and championship aspirations if they would have been able to stay intact. With keep their coach and keep all the players they had. This could have been a really, really good Oregon State team this year.
I will say that Purdue game's going to be fun because Purdue I think Purdue, they're another team that we don't know necessarily much about either. So we'll learn a lot about Purdue as well.
I don't know the name of the guy, but he was on staff. I forget the name.
It's Brent Fry.
Brent Fry.
Brent Fry. That was, I believe, who they.
That's the Virginia Tech coach, isn't it?
Am I mixing up names? Hold on. It's somebody similar to that. I think maybe I'm mixing up the names. Hold on. Head coach. Trent Bray. Yeah, Trent Bray. Yeah. Trent Bray. It's something kind of similar. That's why I was like, maybe I'm mixing them up. Trent Bray. My apologies.
Yeah, the defensive coordinator.
Yes. Probably Trent Bray. That's why I was like, Trent Bray. It came to name first, but yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm probably mixing them up. I probably am. Damn it, I'm human. Give me a break over here. It's 1:20 in the morning. We're talking Mountain West football. Oregon State's schedule, though. I mean, Idaho State win at San Diego State. Even that, I don't know. At this
Boise State looks like a Black Friday game, but I mean, the Oregon State rivalry is back. for another few years at the very least. I hope they're going to play each other every year.
It seems like that's the goal, same as Washington State. They just had to do some maneuvering within the schedules, obviously, for the first few years. That way, going forward, they can kind of move things around. But yeah, it seems at least stable for a few years. So I thought that was very important to keep that interstate rivalry between the teams going. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Oregon and Oregon State can, like you said, agree, because Oregon doesn't have to play them if they don't want to. They can be like, "Hey, your little brother, we want to play some like other teams, like we want to play the SEC more often, or we want to play someone from the ACC." But they're like, you know what? It's rivalry, it's tradition. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, I do think Washington State, Oregon State still really did want to keep playing each other. I don't think that was ever a question about not wanting to continue it. It was just how to make it happen, and both teams found a way, so that was good. That was good.
Do you think this continues to really be a rivalry in the future, or is it going to be something like Colorado State? I mean, it's not. I mean, they play, sure, but
it could become like that. I don't doubt that it could become like that, but it's just a tradition thing where it's like, hey, we're 50 miles from you. We're gonna play you every year, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Oregon they can still do like another big non-conference game alongside Oregon State, and I think Washington can do the same thing with Washington State. Like, you know, keep Washington State annually, but also have another big non-conference game on there.
Yeah, I mean, and don't be as Jackson would say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. Washington State and Oregon State might still turn out to be really goddamn good teams. So don't sell them short just yet.
Yeah.
No, if college football has taught us anything, never sell anybody short. Because look what we did to Northwestern last year. We ridiculed them all off season, and then they went 8-5 and won a big bowl game over Utah.
Yeah, hey, that's the point. It's like, this is not a terrible schedule for Oregon State. I like that are also playing Cal, so a little more Pac-12. Old Pac-12.
I just can't believe we're calling Oregon State, California a non-conference game, and it's going to be on ACC After Dark.
Well, technically, all of this is non-con except for Washington State. Technically, really, if you think about it. Jesus, Neil.
Thank you so much.
Jesus, Neil. I have to stop immediately.
Neil, I think Neil just hit a parlay at Circus. So,
hey, and Neil, you
are the man.
Oregon State. You get to host Oregon State too. So I'm gonna be. Oregon State is fascinating. Same as Washington State this year. But Neil, you're amazing. You do a great job because you're here helping support the show as always. And of course, we were going to have a Mountain West one. I literally did a coin flip this week, and I let the guys know like 4 days ago. I was like, the coin has spoken. Mountain West this week. Going with the Mountain West.
I am astonished at how much activity we still have in the chat. How engaged
at 1:20 and 25 in the morning Central Time.
We've been on air for 2.5 hours talking about Mountain West football, and you guys just can't get enough of it, huh?
Hey, it's football. We have nothing else going right now. There's no football. I mean, I can't even talk. I can't even talk college basketball anymore because my team decided to blow it.
But you can, we can definitely talk about Merrimack and Robert Morris.
Well,
God,
the ticket prices to the Robert Morris Utah State game.
All right. Now you've done it. Just for interest here. Sorry. Let's look at Merrimack's. Oh, they were second. They were second place. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Actually,
Oh boy, watch out for
Oh,
Merrimack.
yeah.
Their schedule
next
isn't
week,
even done yet.
College
They don't even
Football
have a
After Dark
schedule
breaks
yet.
down the Northeast Conference
Nope.
schedules.
They don't have a schedule. Or at least I guess I have to go to
They-
FCS.
Oh,
Oh, that was disappointing.
Well,
Oh,
we know at
tickets as
least they're
low as
going at
13.
UConn.
Tickets as low as $13. Yeah. Damn, that was disappointing. I was hoping to go over this schedule.
The Merrimack Warriors. I mean,
Where's man, brutal.
yeah, that's a brutal schedule. I wouldn't want to have that now.
All right, who played Robert Morris? Who played Robert Morris? Was it
It was Utah State.
It was Utah State. Okay,
It was the big money game, the high price attraction.
Let me do it the easy way here. Okay, they don't play Utah State. You're killing me, ESPN. They don't play Utah State.
Yeah,
Okay,
Sean,
this
you
is
better.
killing me over here.
What's that, Austin?
Sean, you better hope Robert Morris doesn't show up on Ohio State's schedule. That might be a loss.
No. We're running scared from them. We definitely do not. But we also don't want any dirty Pittsburghers showing up in there. Keep.
All right.
Yeah,
Now
Sean.
we're getting somewhere.
we
Now
can
we're
have
getting
Playing
somewhere.
Andrews.
Eastern
Stop!
Kentucky.
Robert
Damn
Morris.
it, disappointing. Come on, killing me over here.
Dang. Do they not schedule or what?
I think
they
it's
wait
because they're
till, like-
FCS, so you got to look on the FCS schedule. Even though you
Well, you know what, Robert Morris, that you're indecisive about the schedule, you get to play Ohio State, Alabama, and Oregon. There. Good luck.
killing me over here. So disappointing. I was like, yeah, let's get into these. No, sir.
Well, you know what's not disappointing, Ben, is what a great show host you are. And if you're such a great show host, I think you ought to treat yourself sometime and get you some of that great Voice of College Football merchandise. Because, you know, Ben, you'd look so great in it. I know Jackson, he talks about it all the time. I mean, he just walks around in it 24/7. I mean, it's like the next Gucci out there. I mean, you walk around in the Voice of College Football merchandise, you're going to look stylish and you're going to look great. And Mark Rogers, it's a stamp of approval. It don't matter what team you root for or what team you love. It's all about the love of the Voice of College Football, and it's all about the love of football. So go buy some merchandise, walk around in the store with the Voice of College Football merchandise, drink some coffee out of the mugs, get your dog or cat a special one as well, and it's all available on the store for everyone's consumption. And then Jackson's demonstrating as he drinks out of one now.
Wow,
Cheers.
Jackson,
So,
you have a competition for being the announcer. You've got a competition over here.
I think Austin's got some work to do to catch up.
Oh,
to Jackson.
I'm pulling this back up, but Jason O's digging deep. Merrimack plays Robert Morris.
Schedule any weddings or big events for November 2nd. You're going to want to keep your calendar open.
Who's scheduling weddings in the fall? That's what I'm wondering. Like, good grief.
Oh,
Many of people do.
but you know what else, Jackson?
I think that those are women's favorite time. They love the foliage in the wedding photos.
Well, you know something, Sean and Jackson? If you schedule a wedding in the fall, what better way than to give the bride and the groom a gift than with a gift card from the Voice of College Football store? I mean, it's perfect. I mean, you don't know what to get them, just get them the gift of the gift card. And they can go to the store and buy anything of Mark Rogers merchandise they want. want.
yeah,
They can get a T-shirt, get a hoodie, get a hat, get cups, anything they want. And it's the perfect wedding gift.
It is. And for one, I'll have to interrupt this segment and say, if anyone scheduled their wedding on November 2nd, you guys are monsters, because November 2nd is a Saturday when Merrimack plays at Robert Morris.
That's
You're
exactly
monsters. Don't do it.
No. No one's going to show up. Your parents might not even. What do you expect? I know you're getting married, but come on, Merrimack Robert.
You gotta
Morris.
marry, do it in the spring or summer or like winter. Don't do it in the fall.
Have you? I've never.
Hey,
been
weddings
to a
are-
winter-
are-
I've never been to a winter wedding or known anyone that got married in the winter.
No, because the man is like, hell no, football. The hell is wrong with you?
Weddings are beautiful, but not during football season.
Do it on a Wednesday.
I've been to weddings at all other times of the year, but just no one. Maybe it's just because where I live, it's prohibitive.
I was gonna say, at least do it on a Wednesday at the courthouse or something like that, when you're not interrupting everyone else's life.
But Ben, you want to know something? You want to know what you're not interrupting? By subscribing to Mark Rogers here on YouTube, and you can get all this great content. You'll never be interrupting nothing, and you can watch it peaceful and quiet. Especially if you've got kids and they love football. Oh, Mark Rogers is the guy to calm them down. Especially if they're cranky after school and they wake up from that nap. Be like, oh, this kid is bugging me. You know what? Let's put on the voice of college football, and he can talk about all things college football with your kids. And he will calm them down immediately. It's such a great kid smoother. It works with everybody.
You people are insane. I don't know why there's so many people here in this thing. It's still at 1:30 in the morning Central Time. You people
Even at 1:30 in the morning, Ben, they love us.
I know, it's like, you people are insane.
Ben, we're like the next Elvis. We're hitting the road. We're getting popular overnight. Next thing you know, they're going to spot you on the street and ask for an autograph. And you too, Jackson, and you too, Sean.
Way to come with the contemporary reference right there. We're the next Elvis.
Well, I mean, we can be the Rolling Stones or the Beatles. I mean, it doesn't have to be Elvis. I mean, we're just getting famous. We're getting popular, and we're spreading Mark Rogers' good name.
Sean, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sean likes to think of himself as the next Taylor Swift.
Of course.
Only himself.
Well, see, here's the thing: we're not breaking up with nobody and writing a song about them. So that's going to be kind of hard.
Or
unless you
want to
break up with. Yes.
But my face has been on screen for 2.5 hours, so I'm pretty close during a football segment. So I'm pretty close to Taylor Swift already in that regard.
Yes. Like Jackson just said it. Not far of a. Look at you, old man. Not that far ahead of me. Don't worry. Not that far ahead of me. So yeah, as Jackson says, happy early birthday.
There you go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay. My bad.
Straight, just special from Austin there.
Don't you worry, right. Ben. When it's your birthday, I'll sing to you too.
I'm not telling you when my birthday is. Not happening. None of you will ever know when my birthday is. It is this year, though. Coming up still. I'll just give that hint.
You have a birthday this year? Wow. Lucky you. My uncle, he just turned 52. His birthday's on February 29th. So
the leap year.
We had a nice little party. We got him the 13 candles on it. Told him, congratulated him on finally becoming a teenager.
You should have been like, you should have shown up set everything down and be like, happy birthday. Fuck you for ruining our day once every 4 years, you ass. Birthday to you. Like, why do you have to do this to us?
Yeah, literally every single human being on the planet has a birthday this year. All
right, Mountain West. Are we going to project Boise State the winner?
Yes, I think Boise State beats Air Force for the title. I'm sticking to it.
Give me until June or July. I'll have a better answer then.
Wimp.
Austin?
I'll say Boise State over UNLV for the championship.
I have to kind of agree with Jackson. I mean, I lean Boise State. Obviously, they have all the momentum coming into it. Everything is in place for them to do everything again but there's so many new scenarios in the Mountain West. It's that's why I said this conference. I was like, oof, who knows? But I do have to right now lean Boise State as the repeat. Maybe not like running the table or something like that crazy, but I mean, like, pretty strong team. All right.
That was the Mountain West.
All right. Yeah, that was the Mountain West. It is 1:40 in the morning here almost. Basically, it is. But, Neil, we got something special for you also. I forgot I was here.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the Pop-Tart spanking the ref again.
That is for my own personal outro pleasure. But let's go Wolfpack. Nevada will have a decent season this year. New coaching staff in Nevada will surprise some people. I think they will surprise some people. Well, thank you, Neil.
Go Wolfpack.
Exactly.
Go Wolfpack, Neil. Too sweet.
So any final thoughts? Otherwise, Jackson, then Austin, and then to the mystery man down at the bottom right-hand corner. Tell people where they can find you and stalk you if they so choose to on the internet.com.
Well, they can find me on Twitter and on Instagram and Threads and on YouTube, where I'm 191 subs away from getting to the magic number 500. My YouTube is Jackson Johnson 979. You can find me on Twitter /X on Jackson 0996 0335 and on Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543 908. And you can also find my latest episode of the Jacksonian with Jackson Holzer, the host of Locked On Syracuse, where we had a great time discussing what was going to happen in March Madness and how we both basically had a venting session about how god-awful Virginia basketball is. And we discussed a lot about Syracuse basketball and what the future of Syracuse football with Fran Brown is going to look like. And Monday night at 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time will be the college basketball recap preview show, where we discuss the recap of the round of 32 and the preview of the Sweet 16. Stay tuned. It's going to be a wild one.
There you go. Austin, what about you?
So if people want to find me, they can find me here on YouTube at Sports Talk with Austin 2002. If they want to find me on Twitter, they find me A Williams 2639 1980, where I just give my takes on whatever. Big Dallas Cowboys fan, Denver Nuggets, of course, the Louisville Cardinals. You'll hear my takes on all those. And then, of course, here on YouTube, I've got an interview coming out with our very own John Diadamo about reviewing Michigan's 2023-2024 season. And let's just say John was a very excited young man about his Wolverines capturing the gold. And I've got so much more coming out as well. But Sean, where can people find you, good buddy?
They can find me right here on the Voice of College Football. Sunday nights.
I like it.
Sunday nights, Monday nights on the Ocho. And they can probably find me at many of the various drinking establishments in downtown Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Nice.
We're going to get a big shout out, very much in order, to my alma mater, the Oakland University Golden Grizzlies. On the map. Austin, you were probably an Oakland fan on Thursday night, weren't you? Along with everyone, of course.
Oh, yes, I was. I cheered so loud the neighbors could hear me. That was such a fun game, and I appreciate you, Oakland, taking those cats out for me.
That's right.
Kentucky fans, back to waiting for football season.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, that is and also nearly got to the second round. Jack Golke is the nation's folk hero for this week. So yeah, absolutely.
Kentucky,
Terrific weekend.
Kentucky back to.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, go ahead, Sean. I was just gonna say, Kentucky back to you dreaming about winning 10 games again, Kentucky fans. Go ahead, Sean. I had to throw that last one in there.
Okay. Jackson, do we have a guest lined up for the Ocho this week?
I don't think so. I'd say you have to ask John.
Okay. All right. Well, more than likely I will be there tomorrow night, so hope to see some of you guys again. We might not talk much about Merrimack and Robert Morris, but I think it'll be a worthwhile.
Boo.
Anyway.
Boo.
Boo! You stink.
Well,
Okay.
Ben, where can
Put it on the
everybody
docket.
find you online?
exactly. I'm just Ben of Exploring with Ben and Sam. You can find me right here on YouTube, Exploring with Ben and Sam. Or you can find me every week, Tuesday or Wednesdays on the Oregon Live channel, on the Oregon channel here. Sorry, Oregon Live show, but on the Oregon channel at the Voice of College Football. Same as every Sunday here. Next Sunday we will be off, but the following Sunday, oh my, Jackson is excited for this. The American Athletic Conference preview.
Yes,
Well, why
Jackson.
wouldn't
We could talk about your boys Tulane.
It's like, why wouldn't we? At this point, we might as well, right? I mean,
And-
at this point,
And
we
of
have
course,
to.
of course, stand up and salute the newest member of the AAC, the Army Black Knights.
Indeed. So next week we are off, but we'll be back the following week with the AAC preview. Neil, you are a trooper here. We had to give the shout out for the Mountain West and your Nevada Wolfpack, and once again, I'll do it for you because you deserve it. Let's go
Play us
Wolfpack.
out.
Are you having a stroke, Austin?
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I'm not going to allow that. Everyone in the chat, thank you very much. Of course, again, Neil, special props and shout outs. You being a huge supporter, as well as all the viewers. Make sure to check out Discord, become a YouTube member, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Other than that, all I have to say is play me out, Pop-Tart.
There you go. I'm a third-degree Mason. That's what I am, referee.
You made a bad call. You made a bad call.